streams. It's
No,
just
I mean
a
YouTube.
community member. Yeah, still, I don't believe so.
Oh,
Unless
okay.
you do, Roman, in which case I am a terrible streamer friend person.
No, it's just YouTube hasn't sent me one of his videos yet. That's all.
Yeah, Roman doesn't. Very cool. Yeah, no, it's just some of the shots of like the armor. There's the full set Inquisitor. What's it called? The fire armor. The scorched.
Yep.
Which does look sick as hell.
Not my style, but it is cool. I respect its hustle. It is very cool.
That should be this. Oh, it exceeds the size limit. Of course it does. Never mind.
You can send me the links.
It's. Oh, I guess, yeah, I can forward, can't I? That's a thing. Yeah, Discord. Also, hello, YouTube. How you guys doing?
I'm snacking real quick before we
welcome
get
behind the
started
camera.
on some apple.
We know we're live. This happens every week. Someone's always like, "Hey, you guys know that you're live on YouTube, right?" It's like, yeah, we have to actively press the button. Could not be forwarded to the following location. What the hell? I'll tell you what, Roman. Can you chuck it in the ATC, just like general or Star Citizen discussion? Just the one of you walking around with the full set of armor. I can't seem to put it in.
It's not a YouTube video?
Nah.
Did you see what I was doing this morning?
I saw what you were doing just before you started, like an hour ago.
Pain. But it's fun.
Yeah, it looks like dope as hell. That's
for the YouTube audience.
That might be the.
I'm going naked into contested zones.
Yeah.
And try like full 0 to hero naked in contested zones to I got one of those giant Zeus suits off of some guy that I get.
Yeah,
well, I didn't even kill him. I found him in a corner. He was dead somewhere else.
Yeah.
I got a lot of kills, but I died a lot.
Yeah.
Did he put it in?
No, yeah, no.
Okay. I have to try to figure out how to get a video of my contested zone reward. I streamed it, didn't I? I did.
I saw the Burks one, and then I saw like a couple of screenshots.
Burks got the best one.
What, the Cutlass?
No, I got the Cutlass. Burks got
right.
an F7A.
Right. So yeah, next week will be last part of the year, because I'm going to be away on the 29th, unless you want to do a solo on the 29th.
Maybe. Probably not, though.
Cool.
Guys, what day did I get the Cutlass? I can't find it. December 12th? It's like a 7-minute stream randomly. I don't understand these VODs. Friday? No. This is Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. I might not be able to find it. There we go.
It's in the Star Citizen discussion.
All right.
Roman chucked it in there.
I'll grab it real quick.
Just a nice shot of the armor. Or like some of the armor that you can get.
Got it, Roman. Okay. Yeah, that looks cool. Is that oh yeah, the Inquisitor chest. The helmet is like it's a nice
Yeah,
weird
the
combo.
one of the Morozov helmets, and then
Yeah.
the everything else should be Inquisitor,
Okay.
which is one of my favorite armor sets. It's just a shame that it's a medium.
Okay, people have Burks's clip of it, so that's fine. That'll work
Mhm.
as well. This was all of us when we were getting it. But that's my ship. So, okay.
Genuine question for you, just before we start.
Yep.
Where do you get the red admin keys?
The PYAM security 3435. 34 or 35. You
You just
gotta
go
look.
there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm doing off the stream.
Oh, it's really hot. So you can't search them on the map.
Yep.
You got to look for them. I think one is in the core area, but on the
PWAM
top right.
supervisor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One's like kind of, but in the core, not the wider bands of the system, is somewhere.
Yep.
A little bit to the top right, and one of them a little bit bottom right.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a clip of actually me as well, so that'll be probably good to have that. All right.
I'm just gonna run grab a water, but feel free to start.
Oh yeah, I'll do the I'll put the intro on. All right, he's back.
And I'm back.
23 seconds. Highlighted message. Turn off YouTube intro. No. It would not be a podcast if I did that. Who we got 10 seconds. Who's going?
You are, I believe.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Answer the Call podcast. What's up, guys? This is, if you're new here, never seen the Answer the Call podcast before, this is a podcast where me and Croncy are your hosts, and we also bring in callers from our Discord to talk about whatever subjects we're talking about today. Today, we're on maybe the eve, not the eve, but the eve week of a 4.0 release, and they did release something that I was hoping they wouldn't, but I'm kind of happy that they did because it does need to be tested. The contested zone final rewards have been shared. We have all the, well, not all, but we have a lot of the information and how it works and all that stuff for you, which is really exciting. And that's about it. I mean, other than that,
and we're open wave. That's the other big thing, right?
True.
We have gone open wave now, so everyone can play the PTU, and they certainly have been.
Yeah, it's been busy, and I think I still hold my same feelings about please do not put this live before the end of the year. I think it would be a grave mistake.
Yeah. Look, we'll just start there. I am concerned about like a 4.0 release before Christmas, but, and I even said it in, like I mentioned it to you yesterday, like, I don't know, I'm going to immediately regret this in a week's time. I am feeling like way more confident about a live release now. And then in a week's time, I won't, and it'll suck, and everything will be terrible. And
yeah,
you know?
you get memed on sometimes for being like the positive guy or whatever, but there's no denying that they've made some pretty big strides on the performance side, right? So
exactly,
it's hard to deny that. So if that is their internal base level to decide whether or not to go live, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but there's a lot of other things that are in particular like things that were on the roadmap this week that were marked as committed that do not work at all. Like most of the missions, right? Like it's one of these things like, do you really want to go? Did you see Burks's Spectrum post, by the way?
I didn't. Everyone was talking about it though. I should have read it.
Yeah, yeah, it was really good. I mean, him and I actually had a conversation. I'll give you the behind the scenes
Mm.
on this. We were playing one night, and I was talking to him, and we are just like really concerned about the state of everything. And this was before a
Yeah.
lot of these performance updates, of course.
Hmm.
And we were like, we should probably make a Spectrum post. And I was like, well, I can't make it. It's going to get downvoted instantly. Why don't you make it?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'll make it. So he links it to me, and I'm reading it on my own, and I just said, like, it was so well said, and I'm just gonna say one line from it, and
Hmm.
that is, you only get one 4.0 release. You
Yeah.
only get one shot at this, right?
Yeah.
I'll try to find it and I'll link it to you guys, but it'll be hard for me because I would have to remove Croncy to find my quickest link to get to it. But I have an idea. I'll grab it on my phone, but I'm going to talk a little bit first. So we'll put it in
Yep.
there. You only get one 4.0 release, right? So the big thing for me is if this was 325, I would say ship it to live. Who cares? But because it has that
Sure. Yeah.
connotation of
It's
there's going to be a lot
yeah.
of outside people that are going to come in to check this out just because it's this new thing. CIG is going
Mhm.
to do heavy marketing on this and try and make it a big deal.
Yep.
It's going to blow up in your face if you don't
Yeah. There's
fix
so
a lot
much
of
weight
these
behind
issues.
this.
Exactly. It's not a normal patch. It's not a situation where I've seen plenty of comments when I've had this discussion. Live is a test environment as well, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not really paying attention to the actual implications that this has. CIG has made less money this
Yeah.
year than they had in previous years. I wonder why. Because the game isn't that good and there's not as many people buying things. There's less people buying things than before, right? Most likely. Don't you want... Oh, somebody got the post for me. You know what? I forgot that I could rely on Twitch chat. Thank you. So there's the link in Twitch, and if you want to grab that and put it in YouTube, you can. But I'll just throw it up on the screen for you guys now. Why not? But it's a good post, man. It's hard to look at this and go, no, I disagree. It was just basically like, don't kill the potential hype that you have here, right? You have
Yeah.
an
Don't
opportunity.
let the game be ruined from it. I guess. Right.
Top
Is I imagine
post
where this is sort of going.
top post is better than the original post, though. Top reply, you ready? Never ask a woman her age. Never ask a man his salary. Never ask CIG to delay a sales event. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, it's just, that's my feelings, and he kind of summed it up really, really well for me. Is I really hope that they consider everything, all the possibilities here, because it's
Yeah.
next year kind
I
of
agree
weighs
with
in the
that
balance
sentiment.
of this release, right? Like a lot,
It does. Yeah.
the first half of the year at least, funding all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment, and like it's a thing that needs to be said, but I don't think it's going to change anything, unfortunately. There is, in addition to a 4.0 having a lot of weight, there is also a lot of weight in it releasing this year, and them finally being correct when they say that it's releasing by the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing that we're all, well, like as we were saying, while stability has improved, still tons of bugs, just like actual bugs, regular old good star system bugs, but to like more of them, that need to get fixed before a live release. And I think we're all just hoping that 3.18 doesn't happen again. And if any patch was going to be a repeat of 3.18, it's going to be this patch because of server meshing. So if that, and the thing is, like when 3.18 released, it happened, what was it, like March, April, whatever. And so they were able to continue working and fix those issues. Still took a very long time, but they were able to, like, spam through it, whereas everyone's about to go on break for like, 2-3 weeks. So
Let's be honest here. 3.18 got fixed like 2 months ago.
so true. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
yeah. So
But
this
you know
is
what I mean? They were able to make it like a lot of the really big blockers where like people weren't even able to log on, or like people's accounts were being bricked and stuff. They were able to try to get through that. Not quickly, but like they were able to do it. They were there Monday trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
That won't happen here. So if the patch is goes to live and is as busted as something like 318 was, we're just going to get shafted, and that will ruin the release.
Yeah. And
Yep.
this is not a concern of me for any player who regularly plays Star Citizen. The regular player is going to have the experience that they're used to, which is a poor one. My concern is the people who have sat out for a while, or the people who are considering coming back, and or coming in for the first time, excuse me. So that's like, I'm seeing more people coming to my chat, is this game good? And it's like, oh no, this is bad. No, like it's not good. And you should probably, just do a free fly and see if it's good for you. Is always my response, right? It's not. I'm not going to tell you if it's good or not. You're not putting that on me.
Yeah, the way that I always go is like, if you are the most patient person in the world, and you are okay with messing around with bugs, you'll probably have the best experience of your life. But like,
yeah,
there are not many of those people.
Exactly. So we'll see. I mean, Elliot Maltby, who is like leads the mission team, came in to chat the other day, and he was like, "Hey, been at the office until 1 a.m. every day. How's things going? I haven't." Yeah, so I think he's doing that by choice, just so you know. But because he's a go-getter or whatever. I don't know what to say.
He is, but I think he just wants contested zones to work, because he like that might be a good thing to go to next. He knows how cool they are. I'm fairly sure I bet he's big touch on contested zones though, because he was the person that was talking about it on the original ISC.
Maybe. They had three or four other people that were doing it. I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. It's just an example of like, they're busting their butts because they're in the UK, but then obviously we know when they release patches is around 1 a.m. their time. So he might want to see how things are going and stuff like that. And
fair.
It's been a lot of fun, but a lot of struggles. So have you gotten in and played a little bit, but I know you were having some internet issues?
Yes. I was, but I was finally able to actually do contested zones this week, because the patches were good enough, the stability was good enough, as well as on one day I was able to play right at the start of a patch, and it was one of those ones where it was like the first server was working really well, and then whatever the server allocation that like tells people to go to which server then stopped putting people into that server, so it just stayed good for the entire time I played as the player count decreased. I finally got to do them, and holy crap, they're so amazing. And this, like, there is, like, even Jared mentioned it on ISC, and we won't talk much about ISC because there wasn't really information in there. It was just, hey, this was what's in the patch.
This is a list of the patch notes, basically.
Exactly, yeah. But even Jared, saying, like, this is my pick for the feature of the patch. It is. Contested zones are so sick. It's one of the coolest things that they've put in the game in a really long time.
How nice is it to have NPCs feel like an actual threat as well? Maybe I'm bad at video games, which I am, but they do. There are enough of them where you could get cornered, you can get hit from one side of the map and the other side of the map, and your cover that you're in is not the best. And it's been a fun experience to actually have NPCs be a bit of a threat, and I've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been really fun. Just from that standpoint. And then on top of that is like when you see a player and you kill them, it is the joy, especially like we've had moments of killing a player and opening their backpack and it's all the keys to the loot room in Ruin and stuff like that, right? So that's super cool.
Yeah, our first successful Ghost Arena, we went in, we were able to get 2 of the keys, so we opened up 2 of the rooms. As we were about to finish, player comes in, we get them, they've got the final key. It's like, yes, sweet, we get all the loot.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I think it's a ton of fun. I imagine still, like, a lot of the contested zones is going to tell Zach and crew exactly how to balance FPS, because we haven't really had, other than Arena Commander, we haven't really had like mass FPS PvP before, and this is that now. So
they tried with Jumptown, but you have to land a ship first, so it gets a little dicey.
Exactly. And Jumptown just ended up being how many A2s can you get out fast, right? So but but that's kind of exciting. I like that. So we get to mess around with that a lot, and I'm loving the rewards too. All of the FPS rewards, the way that they did the component rewards, super cool. I am yet to do the thing that you got to do, Mike, which is the big rewards, which we'll talk about in a sec. But even just like as a, hey, literal 30, 45 minutes in and out, it's a good experience. It's good fun.
Yeah, I gotta say, the experience that I had today, there's one thing kind of getting in the way of it, which is such a bummer. And this is something that it's a 2023 CitizenCon thing, and it should be better, and it's not. Is looting. So it is like looting, the UIs to loot, like all of it, like just pressing F on a body is next to impossible right now. Getting stuff from their body into yours is next to impossible. There's a bug right now that I know that they're probably going to fix before we go live, is if you loot a player's body, you have no access to anything inside of it. So you have to extract, put it in an inventory, and then take it back out. So there's some goofy things, but just the general like interaction with the looting UI is absolute pain. And that's one thing that's like, oof, it's tough, because when you're actually under fire and actually under pressure, you see how bad it actually is. And you know what, that it may sound like I'm being negative. This is the best thing ever, because the reason why it is you're finally able, like, we're in a position now that we've gotten these performance updates from like Benoit and team, that there's no more excuses. There's no more excuses. Now you get to look at the player experience and go, yep, it's not the server. It's now we have to go take a look at this stuff. There's no more excuses. So now, hopefully, that this tech is in and it's improving, and it's not looking like, the first day that they put it in, that's it. There's nowhere this can go. It looks like it can get better and better and better. Then now it's the devs' turn to, put their eye onto the actual player experience and not just making what we already had work with the tech that they're creating. So, yeah, it may sound like I'm complaining, but now hopefully this allows them to just focus on our experience and improving that from what we already have and to what we're going to get, right? Which is really awesome. So that's my hope, is that we get start feeling the actual quality, like things that people call quality of life in Star Citizen when they do fixes are like, this is how it should have always been. But now it's like the looting UI is actually not a horrible UI. It's just, it's not great, but it's not horrible. And you can, it's just a matter of like, when I click, the thing has to go in my bag, right? Like it has to go right away and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's kind of cool. This is totally off the current topic, but I did get permission to say this, and he is going to make a post because I told him to say this publicly. I reached out to Torsten, and one thing that we know about the mining in Star Citizen and the distribution of resources is it's been removed from the client. So if you guys are familiar with Red Monster, it's been a while since we've done a podcast together with him, because we usually wait for a big mining update, and then we'll all get together and talk about the state of mining, because the three of us love it so much. He's the guy who would go and download all the files and determine and break them down for us and let them know what they mean, and where do I go to find this and where do I go to find that, and that's been taken out, so he can no longer do that. So I decided to take me and my org mates and let's go to every location we can find and scan maybe 10 to 15 rocks each at each location and see if we see any trends. And we couldn't find any. And the only trend that we found was a really bad one. Was, how you always look for the low end material to be a certain type, so you get more of the high end material. That's kind of how it works right now. They had every
more dense, less
a
certain
dense
density of material, so that the percentage is higher.
Which is a goofy way of it working, but it's how it works. And they're going away from that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it's still currently how it works in 4.0. And all of the low end material is all of it. Every location I went to, I saw all of them. So there's no like, I'm only going for this one type or two types. And that's really unfortunate. So I reached out to Torsten and was like, hey, I don't know if you know this is happening, but there doesn't seem to be any plan or idea, or from what I could tell. But again, it's totally anecdotal. So if you want to share, let me know. If you don't, that's totally fine. And he goes, no, it's okay. We did plan, like we did do something, but it's a very interesting way of the way he said it. And he left me there is they distributed resources in Pyro based on heat. So the closer you are to the star, you get certain materials, and the further away you are from the star, you get certain materials. And I don't know what to do with that information. So I told him, don't just tell me this information in private. I think you should, if you're going to do anything, you should make a Spectrum post. And he said he will, but he's traveling or something like that. It's the weekend, so don't expect anything like that now. But maybe during the week we'll see something. And I don't know what that means.
Yeah, because it could be
there's ice, so I know what it means from an ice perspective.
Yeah, it could be extremely literal. And it's just like Quantanium is literally hot, so it's closer to the star or whatever.
Yeah.
I expect more likely that it's like the closer to the star you are, the rarity of the material is probably higher, and the further out you get, the colder it is, like the worse it is, right? Like think of a general heat map, because that would also make sense from like a risk reward perspective. Yeah, because it's obviously a lot faster for people to travel around in the center sections than it is like back at what is it, Terminus. So it could be that, I don't know, but yeah, it'd be nice to get some clarification on that. For real. So we'll see, and I think he will. But yeah, that was just another little tidbit from there. You want to talk about the CZ Zone rewards, though? We haven't got there yet. Yeah, very good. They're very good. Yeah, I my faith is somewhat restored in CIG on this one, because they had to get this right. It was very important. Yeah. The CZ rewards are ships. We knew this already. But we didn't know what kind of ship. We knew it was placeholder. Yeah. This was, in all my understanding, was the world first. Like, but it's, you can't do world first is not a PTU, so it's not really right. But this was the first ever contested loan proper loot found. Was a Cutlass that had all stealth components, an industrial drive, and a full assortment of size 3 NDBs. None of those items you can buy in a shop. It also comes with a unique skin just for the contested zone ship, and you can't remove it. So it is, this ship is this ship, and it has the Pyro Amalgamated Cutlass Black. You know, it's got its own name and everything. And it literally has my name on it, which is kind of cool. And, yeah, Burks got a F7A with all stock components. Also, like half of our group fell through the floor there. Burks got a F7A with all stock components, and everyone else has only gotten Sulins since, from what I can tell. My org got another Cutlass, actually. So, yeah, I'm lying there. It is not account bound. It is as if you purchased the ship for in-game credits. So that's how it works. It is as if you purchased it for in-game credits. So, but it has carried with me through all the patches since I got it. Yeah, there hasn't been like a database wipe this whole week. Yeah, because I've kept all the stuff I bought and stuff as well. So yeah, exactly. So whenever they do wipe, it's going to go away. So it's kind of, it is a exclusive in-game, only when you're playing the game reward. And why I mentioned Burks' ship versus my ship is my ship, a Cutlass is cool, but it's not the most meta PvP ship of all, right? But a lot of the components that were on it were meta'd, right? Yeah, were meta, and a lot of the weapons definitely were. So some ships are like a loot pinata, and some ships are the ships that you might be using in PvP. So every time you get a ship, you're getting something of value. The Cutlass had a lot of size 2 components. Stealth on a size 2 ship, it's not really that good, because you're never really putting yourself below, at least on the Cutlass, below 13K. So people are going to see you pretty far out, right? But if you got the Sulin and it had stealth components, there was that too.
Ian, who did a lot of the work to make this stuff work, and a lot of
Mhm.
the design and stuff on this, said that, oh, you got the stealth cutlass, implying that there were other versions of the cutlass that you can get as well. So there's loadouts. So there's many different ships, and there's many different loadouts of those ships that you can possibly
Mhm.
get in this. So it's a bit of a dice roll every time, and it's really, really cool. And um, I don't really have too many notes for CIG on what to do differently here as far as the reward goes. I think it's a great one, and
Yep.
it's better than a Vandal mask. It's kind of cool. So
Until they start getting cutlasses in boxes that you can find at ground stations.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
imagine loading out
yeah.
your whole org with F7As through playing with them.
Yeah.
Sounds like
No,
a
I
video
think it's
game to
sick as
me.
yeah, I think it's sick as hell. This is the first like big tangible in-game reward really ever. Like I guess with the exception of just buying ships for UEC.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a great job with it. I would like to see more variety. It sounds like there's only 4 ships, but that could still happen. Obviously, there's no
Yeah.
reason why they couldn't do that going forward and bring in some more to it later on. I have heard a few concerns, not just in the chat now, but before as well, of people saying, well, like, if you can just farm these over and over and over again, you're just going to have infinite F7As, whatever. Yeah, right now, sure. There are wipes right now. So I think that is a non-issue. In a post 1.0 world, they would not have warranty. They would not have insurance right off the bat, right? So there would theoretically be a need for people to do these over and over and over again to get them back.
In a
So
post 1.0 world, they may be
yeah.
blueprints and not the actual ship.
Yeah,
These are
exactly.
rewards that make sense for right now. The reward
Yeah.
can always be changed.
Yeah. Oh, apparently
So-
there are 5 ships. Oh, interesting. I don't know what the 5th one is then, but
Cutlass,
cool.
F8, F7, Sulin, and what
Yep.
else?
Something else, I guess.
I don't know. Oh, according
it
to
would
Ian,
be-
I wonder what it is then. Nobody's gotten it
It would
yet.
be cool if it was the Guardian. Like that'd be the sickest thing is like they've kept that one away for release.
Yeah.
So that when it does release, it's like, hey, you can also get a Guardian this way. So I'm hoping that, but yeah, we'll find out.
Maybe it's a Titan because that's the first reward that was placeholder. So
Yeah.
could be. But yeah, so that's a big thing. The only note that I would make is your all the contested zone rewards are things that we don't have a trade window for. So it's like people who
Yeah.
so you mentioned, I think it was before the podcast started, was like people complaining about PvP. And that's their justification is like, yo, I can't get any of this stuff, right? Because they would have to sell it. Like a player would have to sell it to you. And how do they?
Yeah.
You can't sell the ship. So it's immediately, it's as if it's on your ASOP terminal. So it's not like it's like an opportunity to sell to somebody else or anything, right? So that would be for the future is when we, kind of have trade windows and things like that. It would be really nice to change this up a little bit and see what's going on there. But yeah.
Well, that's the thing. This is going to be other than when they removed some of the larger guns from the loot pool, this is going to be one of the first times that people are going to want to actively trade with other players for components. As much as SP Kerr has been saying in YouTube and Twitch chat over and over again that they aren't the meta, we get it.
Yeah. Well, and we've been trying to tell them to change them.
Yeah.
They were the meta, a lot of the ones that they chose before they've made some engineering changes and quantum tribe changes. Like we've been trying to tell them, and I know Ian is listening on the what items are on the ships. He said, hey, if you have any suggestions, I'll change the loadouts. But I don't know if he has a say in what goes in the loot pool of the like loot rooms that you went into. Because every one of those did not feel too like I just ignored them and grabbed the FPS weapons.
Yeah. But
Just
yeah,
another
regardless,
thing we could talk about.
Even though they're not meta, people will still want those components, and this will be one of the first times that people are going to want to trade for them. And there's obviously no easy way of doing that. The way that I've been visualizing in my head, like how would you do this in the current state of the game, is literally like, global chat. Hey, I'm looking for whatever military component. and then I have to trust a person. Like I essentially would have to decide if I'm sending them money before or after they bring it up from their freight elevator, and it's very realistic, but it's kind of shitty.
Yeah,
Whereas
like
like
there's
just
no
literally like
contract
a
system. There's no
exactly, yeah,
marketplace, it's not like
yeah. So
it's just
you
sitting
have to
there.
do it a bit junky.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I hope that's a 2025 goal for CIG is to, now that we're making
yeah,
items worth it, you have to make it so we can interact with each other to give those items
yeah,
in a simple way, right? So that would be, maybe that we'll save that for next week's podcast, is our
yeah,
hopes and dreams for next year, right?
yeah. But yeah, you touched on it a little bit. Is yeah, since Open Wave, and now that basically everyone's playing it, which I would also recommend if you're saving yourself for live, don't. It's probably going to be a really, really bad experience right at the start. If you want to experience a jump point, go do it now. But now that everyone's doing it, there has been way more calls for not like people being mad at PvP in Pyro, which was an inevitability.
Mhm.
This was always going to happen. Um, there are. I want to quickly give merit to some statements that some people say, which is the reputation system is not in a good spot, and it's like it's not where CRG want it to be, uh, and that's fine. Like a lot, like a lot of the complaints I'm hearing from people are not about not being able to do contested zones. It's about not being able to do anything in Pyro because they keep getting killed. Right? You have to expect that to happen in Pyro, especially going until any sort of change happens with like reputation. That I
Where
will
are people
shoot
getting
you on
killed?
site everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere in
Like
Pyro.
I got killed at a station leaving it and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, okay."
yeah,
Like I'm
um,
not, you can't get upset about this shit. The thing is the stations do
yeah,
defend you. So if somebody goes red,
yeah.
the station will attack the player.
Hmm.
Outside of that, it's on you, man. Like the people that are complaining, I don't know, man. You're going to an outpost and you see another ship there. It's not safe anymore. So you got
Exactly.
to get your Stanton mentality out of there, dude. It doesn't exist. Like the spawn
Yeah,
camping people at a station. I mean, honestly, bans are probably going to end up coming to those people, even in a place like Pyro potentially, because that's it. It might eventually be like borderline harassment or something like that, right?
yeah, yeah,
And the way CIG is handling some of this stuff is they're probably even a little bit too strict on it, I think, and that'll cause some problems.
yeah,
So it's impossible. Like I see somebody in chat going, "It's a lawless system. Watch your back and go with backup." I would agree with that in most locations, but leaving your hangar is a little
yeah,
tough for
yeah,
me. Is even in a game like Eve, people want the certain star systems to be people to be able to come and go from them and buy stuff from you,
yeah,
right? So a rough and ready gang would want their main stations to be somewhat players can come and go freely at the very least,
yeah,
so they can buy and sell fuel and whatever they do, right?
yeah.
So I don't know. It's a
I
tough one. But
yeah.
spool up
The
your
big
quantum drive before you leave the hangar. Set your
yeah.
location where you're going before you leave the
Get
hangar.
out of there.
Boost out of there, and then get ready to go.
Yeah, that stuff is legitimate concern stuff that does need to change. The thing that I want people to understand if you're going into Pyro with the mindset I was talking about, I am not a PvP player most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to shoot a player if I think I can kill them because I think they will turn on me at all times in Pyro.
Yep.
Everyone is a threat
I
because
have
there's no
not
like
come
info.
across a player that has not shot me yet, and not
Exactly.
just in contested zones, everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's how it
It is
should be.
literally kill or be killed.
Yep.
And so that's going to mean there's going to be more PvP. So
Yep.
you can't expect players to always be nice, There's always still going to be worlds, just like there are in like Tarkov and whatnot,
Until
where you
VoIP
can
works.
befriend someone.
Until
Yeah.
VoIP works, it's going to be kill or be killed. And it's
Yeah,
literally in the known
exactly.
issues that VoIP doesn't work. So that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. And yeah, once that comes in, then you have the opportunity for a little bit more fun there. But anyone
Mhm.
complaining about it outside of the station, I don't think it has any weight at all
Yeah.
in it. Because they're soloing a large ship and they're getting killed. They're soloing a small
Mhm.
ship and they're getting killed, and they're soloing. And soloing is, I just did it. I went into a contested zone by myself against teams of threes, and I got
Yep.
absolutely annihilated. There
Yep.
was a couple moments where I was like, "Are they watching the stream?" Like there was some weird people going to a spot that how would you even know I'm there? But outside of that, it was like you gotta just deal with it. You know, you just deal
Mhm.
with it. It's what it is. That's the beauty of the system, and
Yep.
hopefully this is something I've been calling for Pyro this entire time, and I'm not quite seeing it, is
Mhm.
you you need to have the ability to take something from Pyro and bring it to Stanton and have it be
Yep.
of value. So a player wants to
Mhm.
come to Pyro and risk what they know is
Yes.
going to happen. And I don't,
Yep.
so far, do not see that, but there's a lot of
There
time to
is
find
a
that.
lot of good trade value, is what I've been seeing
Yeah.
from
But
Pyro.
how good?
Um, I saw someone say it was like 140% return, which is pretty insane.
That's really good. Yeah.
Um, uh, but those numbers change every patch, so we'll see exactly how that ends up. Um,
Scrap, I told
but
him
yeah,
about that exploit. That one's not going to stick around. No chance. Don't hold
oh
up
no,
on scrap. I told him about that one.
yeah.
That one's so stupid.
Um, in a little bit of a connection to that, now that we have the DGS the way that it is, um, there is extra protection for you if you are an aspiring trader that wants to go into pyro or miner or whatever. You don't want to do PvP. An interesting side effect of the way that DGSs works now is you can find out how many people are in a planetary system, just straight up.
Yep.
Which I realized, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually, I
It's
kind of
quiet here.
like
I
this a
can
little
risk it.
bit. Exactly, right? So
Gotcha.
like I was doing some jumps around the other day, doing some I just want to get some rep for Citizens for Prosperity and see where that leads me, right?
Yep.
Because I think a lot of people haven't done that yet. Um and I was trying to find the best place to do it where I wasn't going to count many people because the server was full at 500 people. I go to Pyro 4 and there was 16 people in the planetary system. And so I
Beautiful.
was like, all right, cool. That's awesome. Because that's also split between all 5 moons of Pyro 5
Yep.
plus Pyro 4. So that's a big spread. And so it's a lot less likely that I'm going to encounter people there. Meanwhile, if I was just at Checkmate Station, it was like 70.
Yeah.
So
Because everyone's contested
yeah.
zoning.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, do that. And but what it made me realize is like I kind of want CRG to put that in as some sort of mechanic for us to actually use, whether that's through scanning or whatever else. I don't love that it's like, hey, console command, how many people are in this location?
Yeah.
But it would be cool if it was an intended thing.
DGS's dedicated game server, by the way. I see somebody asking in Twitch chat.
Yeah.
It's just there's 10 servers that are running the whole what's called a shard. A shard would be US server 60. That's a shard, and then the dedicated game servers have their own little codes. And when you type in r underscore display info and then 1, 2, or 3, you'll see there are 500 people on the whole shard, so US 60, and there are 16 people in the one that I'm in right now, the server that I'm in.
Yep.
So that's what
And because that is
he's
a
referencing.
known factor where those DGSs are, you can therefore extrapolate. All right, there are literally 16 people around Pyro 4.
Yeah. And I know that I'm probably pretty safe here. I mean, that's the other thing that you're bringing up that I do want to point out. Rep is only available for headhunters and Citizens for Prosperity at the moment.
Yeah.
Xeno Threat, Rough and Ready do exist in the game, but there's no way to gain rep for them. They're not offering you any missions.
Which they
I
were
can't
during
get
the
headhunter
original
rep.
playtest, which is interesting.
Yeah. So I think that
Yeah.
they'll figure some things
Pretty
out.
much.
Another thing to point out, it's probably if they do push this thing to 4.0 live, if you have alt accounts or you haven't finished Save Stanton yet, you better get it done
Yes.
this week. I'm going to be working on getting it done on 2 alt accounts, I think, because I want to make sure that I have
Yeah,
those
I should do that
guns
too.
on multiple
Yep.
accounts. If they end up being good, I want to have extra of them. And then there has been zero testing for Save Stanton Chapter 2.
Yeah, I have theories about what it'll be.
What do you think?
Some people were saying that it's probably going to be the contested zones. I don't think so, just because contested zones are very thematically Xenothreat and Fire Rats,
And
which are
Sandbox.
neither of the but are also neither of the factions that are involved in this like lore, this story that's happening.
Yep.
I imagine it's going to be, hey, welcome to Pyro. So the first one is like, go do a ground mission at Pyro 2, go do an asteroid base mission at whatever, and just
Yeah.
very, very basic, but in a good, like in a purposeful way. So it's like literally, hey, go explore Pyro, go do the new things.
Yeah. Somebody's asking if you kill like a rough and ready NPC, does your rep go down with them? No.
Like they don't seem to have a rep yet, basically.
Correct. So we'll see. There's a lot of things that need to happen here for Pyro to be Pyro, right? We don't even have our solar flares or anything yet. But
yeah.
Or base building. There's like so many things that will take you away from the busy and bustly, like there's people everywhere situation to there's like 100 asteroid clusters for you to mine in, and there's lots of places for you to do missions, and we're going to spread out. Now we're spread out across 2 systems. Nobody's in Stanton. If you don't want to deal with PvP, just go to Stanton, right? So there's that as well. And you can tell it's empty. Yeah, it tells you now that just by looking at the server configuration, they put 6 servers in Pyro and only 4 in Stanton out of the 10 because they knew more people are going to be in Pyro, and I think Pyro's also has lots of issues. I don't know if you guys caught this. This was hilarious. Is Ruin and Checkmate Station have this incredibly bad problem with entity count, and we were laughing like there's 300k entities at Ruin, and like my frame rate is like nothing.
Mentioned they were loading in with like 400k.
Yeah, Bognogus, I don't know how to properly say the name, but Bog is what I call him. He got up to 1 million entities and then crashed. So yeah, it's super funny. Jeez. And so there's a lot of things that they have to figure out. So yeah, it's pretty funny. I have an image of him with just like this dead face, and then they also clipped the little entity count, and it was like 990 something thousand, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is so goofy. But yeah, so lots of optimizations have been done. I don't think that happens anymore. Probably the reason why our performance is a little bit better. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else that I've done or. The only other thing I want to talk about is quickly more contested zone rewards. The components or the attachments on FPS weapons are absolutely insane. So whether or not you want the ship components or not, if you shoot an FPS weapon in this game, you want these things from contested zones. They are so good. Yeah. It's crazy. It's actually
the ones that like reduced recoil, just turn them into... like just where is your cursor? That's where it's shooting.
FS9's laser beams, Karna rifle laser beams. They're -70 recoil reduction and stuff like that. It's super good. So it's
which to be fair, Zach buffed them this week, right? He said he was going to buff them, and he made them very, very impressive.
Yep.
So it's very possible they won't stay as aggressive as they will. I think they won't stay as aggressive as they are, but. The fact that there are improvements is always nice because it means, this is stuff that I imagine we'll see through crafting and whatnot as well, as we'll see items have these kinds of buffs.
Yeah, they're basically giving you a tier 3 attachment to a weapon, right? And seeing where a tier 3 will lie. Yeah, some of them also have damage bonuses.
Yep.
Rate of fire, all sorts of stuff. Super cool, man. I can't wait to like do A/B testing. I A/B tested an FS9 and it's like night and day. So it's really, really cool. So for me, that's what I'm going for. It's kind of what I was trying to do today. But it was just so hard as a solo player to farm.
Yeah.
So I was trying even against just NPCs, super hard to farm.
Yeah. Still worth noting as well, even though they are like crazy increases in bonuses, because of the current time to kill, if you still catch someone off guard with like a regular P4, you're still probably going to win the encounter. It's just, you're getting those nice bonuses, and if you're in a fair fight, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I had all sorts of crazy bugs. Like I went in there without a gun or anything, and I knock a guy down, pick up a gun, and blast him in the head twice, get a red marker like he died, and then I just die, and then there's that guy running around after I'm dead, and I'm like, wait, what? So yeah, there's a lot of craziness that's going on still as far as performance and desync and all these things. But
I do like one of the things about contested zones that has made me realize we really desperately need is like proper footsteps and like proper sound of people running around. Because at the moment,
Bro,
like
you
you
don't
do
even
hear
hear
it
the
a little bit in
weapon
Arena
fire.
Commander.
You hear the weapons hit the
Yeah.
wall. You don't hear them shooting the weapon.
Exactly, yeah. So like there's a lot of like sound issues, which could just straight up be bug. Like, but
Almost certainly they're
yeah.
bugs.
Yeah, people just running around silently
Yeah.
is a bit of an issue.
But you can hear when they open doors, that's for sure. So
Yep.
the doors are mega loud.
Yep.
Anything else on that front? I don't have anything. I'm just really excited to see what happens. Do they go or do they no go? And we'll see.
Yeah. I think they'll go.
Both are going to be
and,
bad.
Yeah.
Both have their negatives and both have their positives.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just think the waiting outweighs the negative of the general, hopefully being able to sell more ships and do more on the providing a good experience to people who are going to be your fans forever is what I'm looking for. But yeah.
Yep.
We'll have to see.
There's one other bit of information I wanted to mention, but don't really want callers to come in and talk about this. Just wanted to mention the community manager, Jake Acapella, has left CIG as of this week.
Yeah.
I only wanted to mention it because Jake has done a ton for me as a creator, and so is going to be very, very sorely missed. So thank you for all your work you've done, Jake. Appreciate it a ton. And
100%.
hopefully,
Yeah.
bigger and better things.
And give him the privacy that he's asking for too, right? Like he was just kind of like, I'm gonna stay off the internet for a while, and that sucks, right? So it's not a fun experience to not be at the company anymore that was your life for so long. He was a creator before he worked there, and he was involved in the project a lot. So
they were one of the first people to like actually interact with me ever as a creator, which was kind of cool. So gonna miss them, and I'm still gonna force them to come to CitizenCon.
I think he will. I don't think the game's going out of his life or anything like that. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So you ready for callers?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we'll go to our first caller, who is Riley. And Riley, what do you want to talk about today? If you can hear us.
Oh, Jesus. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, God. Fucking contested zones are one of the things of all time. I'll give it that.
One of the things.
One of the things. So one of the best or one of the worst?
So, there's things I can't talk about for contested zones. Otherwise, I will get obliterated by every single person, like Murder and Fresh, for speaking about them. Salty, you should understand that. But yeah, so
information know that others don't, but I probably know.
Yeah, and that the org doesn't want anyone else to know. But you've done checkmate, right? Like a few times. You know the room before the major loot room.
Sure.
The one with where if you go to the bottom, there's all that stuff there that, like, in theory, a logistics person would like.
Is it the one with all the hand minables? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is probably the most disappointing room in the entirety of everything, because the spawn rate for that is the exact same as everywhere else.
What do you mean? Like, it'll just continuously spawn hand minables?
Oh, no. So, you know how hand minables have a certain spawn rate on the rarity of what they're going to spawn? So, Janelite's like absurdly rare, and everything else kind of goes down that way.
Sure.
I'm still not convinced Janelite exists. I haven't seen anyone mine it ever.
Swear to God.
Somebody found it. I think PC 101 found some the other day. So
nice.
it does exist.
It does exist.
So, we did some testing, and it is the exact same spawn rate as outside of there, which is extremely disappointing because it's a contested zone.
You got to fight to get there.
Yeah, it's like you've got this risk, and now it's like, okay, well, you can hand mine this stuff that's worth 130 per fucking mineral, and it's like, oh wow, I'm really looking forward to that when the room right after it has components that are worth like 50k, 70k, and it's like,
like I get it, but there's also like dozens and dozens of rocks there. So like it might be the same rate for like rarity, but there's way more.
I can't speak about it, but it's not good.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the exact numbers, but it's just not good compared to the amount of like reward you're gonna get from going there.
For sure. And I'll
For
just say
risk.
this from the logistics side of things is the need for Hadanite we saw on a on a PowerPoint at CitizenCon, right? It was like some sort of extra thing that you would throw into a crafting recipe.
Yep.
I think, but it has no purpose. So the value of it today is not going to be the value of it tomorrow whenever they actually do something with it. So it being there and sort of being placeholder doesn't bother me that much right now. But if you put in crafting and it still is this like valueless thing that is stupid and boring and not, well, actually some people like it, but to me it's pretty boring because it has no value. That's when I would start getting up in arms about things like that. So I hope I'm understanding what you're upset about. But for me, it's like any commodity in the game. I don't care if it's gold or Bexelite or Quantanium or Hadanite. It just doesn't mean anything until I do something with it. Like after playing a game like Eve, I just can't look at this game and go, yeah, good game. Yeah, they're doing this well. Like it's just no, they're just not.
At the same time, do either of you know if hand minables have been balanced for the economy yet with all the new changes?
There are
Or are they still
changes
selling
to
for the
the
same
prices, and they sell for different amounts in Pyro, from what I saw. But
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah,
I haven't done
done
too
research
much.
on everything, but it's like really low in the totem pole because it's a hand mineable in the first place, and if you're doing hand minables, you're a poor boy on a poor family.
Yeah,
That's the only way to really describe that. Like, there's.
I mean, you know where that room is great is when Mike's doing his 0 to hero, he finds a mining tool, and then
He's like, "Oh my fucking
Just has his
god,
let's
backpack.
go!" And then I just sit there and just fill my backpack while people are like blasting each other above me. And
it's like,
and they hear the
that's
sound.
the good thing about that room. That room is like kind of like off to the side, and it's like
Yeah.
a little cordoned off, right? So
Yep. But if it
well,
goes like it would
downstairs
today,
one, yeah.
if it goes like it did today, I would just be down there mining. I wouldn't hear any footsteps, and then it would just be like all I hear is the sound of an FS9, and then I'm down.
It would be like one of those like joke cuts where it's just like you're mining and then there's just a single frame of sound of a gunshot and then it just cuts to you in a medical bed.
Yep.
It's just like, yes, my 0 to hero run is going great.
That happened to me this week. I respawned before I died at one point this week.
Nice.
It just immediately put me in the bed before I heard the gunshot, and I was already awake. It freaked me out.
Oh, but yeah, other than that negative to it, I think contested zones are amazing. This is the most PvP we've had for FPS in years. Like, just years. Like, there's actual groups of people actually going down there now instead of what the only place you'd ever get PvP wasn't even Jump Town, because no one went to Jump Town.
Yeah, I was gonna say SPK and the
SPK is the only place.
as well,
Literally
right?
the only place.
Yeah.
It was SPK and security post Korea.
Yeah, and it was trash
that's
there
SPK,
too. Yeah, it was trash there.
Yeah.
So it was. I love it. It's my favorite place, but it was trash there just because I think the NPC spawns plus the rewards you got just weren't worth it. So if you had somebody there, it was always this goofy fight for somebody just floating outside sniping you, and you can't see where they are, and it was just like, okay, this is boring.
And it's just like, what the heck am I doing here? Instead of being literally anywhere else doing anything else.
Yeah. And now we have like maps that you can see doors opening, and it's just
Pyro
juicy.
has just so much better PvP than Stanton, and it's not even close. And of course, 90% of players won't even see that because they are all like, "Oh my god, someone killed me! I can't believe it! This is the worst thing to ever happen to me in the universe." Did you know I work a 9 to 5 and that I have a really hard-working family that I have to support? And you, CIG, you need to make it so these PvP players get punished because of my 9 to 5.
You said it where you said PvP players wrong. Griefers.
The opinion.
Yeah, sorry, grief. These fucking griefers. I can't believe it.
The opinions of Riley do not reflect the opinions of ATC. We love all of you, Care Bears. Please keep watching.
I agree. I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement.
The thing I will disagree with is you said 90% of people won't do it. They will. Everyone. There are so many people who are saying they just will not do this. This content. I imagine a lot of those will change over the course of the next year, especially once we get in. But this might not be the next year, but whenever we do get in the pug system, people will be doing these a lot more often as well. People that normally wouldn't do these. It's just right now, if you want to do these, you're either doing them solo like Mike, and if you watched my stream earlier, it's going to take you a long time to complete all the contested zones that way. You're doing it with people you've already made friends with, right? There's not really pickup groups happening at the moment.
Yeah,
and you have to have a minimum of a CPU to do that because the entities are 300k and above every single time you go to any station ever, and you're getting 5 FPS and you're trying to do FPS versus these people, and it's like, okay, am I gonna hit him or is the fucking am I gonna skip frames and am I gonna be like 10 meters off of him?
I have been mad at not being able to be in an Aussie server this week and having to deal with like 300 ping doing the contested zones, but I still enjoyed it, just for reference.
There's actually less desync significantly than for PU in the FPS. We're not going to talk about flight because desync on flight is awful.
Yeah, desync during the entirety of Save Stanton, regardless of what mission you're doing, was terrible.
My god, yeah. I mean, that was probably the height of it for a little while there, outside of a few patches in the PTU for 4.0. But they seem to have nailed down a lot of stuff here, but we'll see. Live is a different beast, so we will see.
Oh yeah, 318 on PTU. We're like, oh guys, 318 feels pretty good on PTU. Let's push it to live. And then 3.18 hit live, and we're just like, this is the greatest mistake I've seen in the history of gaming. We should have never fucking done this.
No, they had to. They were never going to be able to fix those problems without more people playing.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like
it was awful.
It was terrible. It was 100% terrible, but it had to happen. And I think that's going to be exactly what happens with 4.0. I'm just hoping that a lot of the similar issues that happened with like at the back end and the servers
don't happen.
First off, fixed, and then secondly, hopefully we put them through their paces. As this has got to be the most amount of people playing a PTU probably ever, I imagine.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So hopefully they're getting some good
data. Yeah, the servers are actually full instead of just like normally on PTUs, the servers are not full, or you're running like 5 servers. I swear to God, there's not many people on, and there's so much to actually.
Let me ask you just before, and then we'll let you go because there's a pretty long line. But the servers now have 500 people, but we're split across a big area now. Have you been seeing more people than you're used to? I definitely see them when I'm loading into like Ruin and trying to get into contested
100%.
zones.
Yeah,
but I wonder if we're kind of seeing the liveliness of Star Citizen that we were hoping to get out of it. And I think I might ask that to everybody, right? Because it's we 5x'd. We 5x'd. So
we 5x, but then we 2x the space.
Yeah,
more or
it's
less.
a bit hard to tell, right? Because I've been mostly doing contested zones and other things that require me to be alone-ish. Contested zones is the only one where I see players, but contested zones are also like the highlight of the patch. So of course I'm going to see 20 people at contested zone. Like that's not going to be a big surprise. But I do think that generally we're going to have more players at those contested zones because either way, if it was just 100 people max server, there's multiple contested zones in Pyro. If it was still like it was, and you only had 100 people in all Pyro, I'd see probably half the amount of players because it'd be split more between those contested zones with less players.
Yeah. You know what I'm seeing? A lot of dead, like left out ships. Like I see a lot of white ships everywhere I go because people are going everywhere. And there are people, you're not seeing life, but you're seeing signs of life now, maybe. More than anything for me.
You're going into a galaxy that's been dead for centuries. That's what it feels like. Instead of just no one's been to this galaxy before.
Yeah.
I have encountered a lot more people at mission locations in the last week, which that's my big thing, right? Because there's just tons of them. So like that's kind of a good like, where are people? How often are you going to see people? So that's been a good sign at least for me.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, Riley, any final thoughts before we let you go? Because I asked you a question, but I don't know if you had anything still on your mind for the end, I guess?
Frick. I mean, contested zones are cool. Oh, if the Guardian were added to that contested zone pool, I think that'd be really sweet.
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
And I
It'd
do
be a great way to
appreciate them.
hype up the ship.
Yep.
I've appreciated, at least from the abilities that we've had, like Salty and the people that like we hang out with, how the SIG has actually listened a lot to the feedback we've provided in contested zones and PvP and loot pools and a lot of this stuff compared to what it felt like they'd listened 1 year ago. 1 year ago, it felt like we were kind of throwing shit at like a wall, whereas now
Dude,
it feels like we had actual changes.
it's crazy. I'll call them out here, and it's not calling them out at all. I was worried that they felt like they were being called out. I was watching Space Cutlet play, and Blues, who's in chat, is like notorious for doing this. At least for me, is he was just sleeping through every door, not using any keys, and just exploiting the whole contested zone. And I just messaged like somebody who works on the experience team. I won't name him. And I was like, you should consider maybe removing some of these emotes that are going through every single door just to and just.
Oh, is that why they got rid of
ignoring-
the dances?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It was literally
It's
just
because you could
Oh.
glitch through the
I
door.
thought they hated fun and they didn't.
Yeah.
No, it was
Yeah, fair enough.
breaking the game.
makes a
It
lot
was
more sense.
unironically
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
breaking the game, being
That
able to
makes a lot of
dance.
Yeah, and it's been this way forever. But like when I was
Yeah, you
watching,
used to use it for other
when I
things,
was
actually,
watching,
so
I never saw
it's
anybody put in a key. It was I just see Blues go boom, and then the door open, and I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this? This is so stupid. So
Yeah.
I just thought about it in the sense of like, yeah, those guys are my friends. It's no big deal if they do it. But at the same time, if they can do it, everyone can do it. And yeah, there's a bunch of I've been sending every exploit I could possibly think of, and every
Mhm.
single time and I'm not even saying in a week, in a day,
Yeah.
it is getting fixed. So they are absolutely listening, and they absolutely care that this experience is good, which is
Mhm.
pretty sick.
I
Yeah.
think I can
So yeah,
get off the top of my head 7 different places in the contested zone that have been fixed from wave 1 to now in terms of where we could have glitched through,
Yeah.
not including the dance and the sleepy modes
yep. A lot of
that
that
they've
was
just patched up.
a lot of that was me sending videos of it to them.
How
to be-
dare you? We were enjoying those exploits, Salty.
Sorry.
You rad. We were enjoying not having to deal with the
Mike hates
fuses not
fun.
actually going in.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, right
Still
before
broken.
I leave, the fuses being like people who haven't played contested zones don't understand how obnoxious that is. When you're sitting there for 10 minutes trying to get that fuse into that slot because the icon isn't popping up and you have to get it like a pixel perfect green. Oh
Yep.
my god.
You know the
And it's
trick?
like, oh, you got killed in the back.
The trick is you have to use a tractor beam now to get them in.
Yeah, I know you have to use
Yeah.
a traction beam, but it's still a pain to do that too. Because sometimes it'll desync and just be awful. So yeah. All right, I'll leave you guys to it. I'm sure there's more people in line.
Oh yeah. All right, Riley, be good, man.
Cheers. We
Talk to you
appreciate
soon.
it.
Have a good one.
Have a good
Bye
one.
bye. All right, so that was Riley, and I'll take Riley's name off, and then we got our tried and true coming in next, Space Monkey Business.
Hey.
I wrote you just in as Space Monkey today, so you fit on the thing.
How you doing, Space?
Well, I'm good. I'm good. Bit tired. The weather
Yeah.
is fucking me up.
How's
But I guess
on
you
there.
know that as well.
what are your thoughts today? And while you're talking, I'll bring up a video that one of our members, I guess, I don't know. He has a video of the actual he got the sweet new armor from
Yeah.
the
A
contestants.
That's
full
cool.
full armor set with a nice
Full
one.
set.
It's very cool.
No backpack, man. We need a backpack.
True.
It looks pretty neat. Cool.
Yeah.
To complete the list of ships you can get from the contested zone, I heard the Corsair is one of them as well.
Does Corsair fit in a
Interesting.
medium hangar?
It should.
Just because the contested
Not
zone is
sure.
a medium
Should,
hangar.
right?
Contested zone's a
I think it
medium
should.
hangar, so that's
Yeah.
what you'll know is it a yes or is it a no? Chat's saying yes, so then it could be.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
There you
Very
go.
cool.
Cool. So I've not played Contested Zone, so I've some questions.
Mhm.
There's only fight equipment you can get from the Contested Zones. Is that correct? So there's
What
no
equipment?
like, yeah, just FPS stuff, and there are no like upgraded or OP mining scraper beams that they showed
No,
at CitizenCon.
No,
That would be
that'd be cool
cool.
though. Yeah.
yeah. I
I
that's
would hope
my
they would add that to the pool.
that's my dream
Yeah.
really, is that you have PvP rewards for doing things like mining, salvaging, and others. And then you have
Yep.
PvE rewards that are done doing PvP like things. So we have to talk to each other. Like, hey, I
Yeah.
don't want this. And I'm like, oh, I don't want this. And all right, like, let's trade, like that's something that I hope does happen. And there are,
Yeah.
you do go to a refinery deck in the contested zones. So the idea of finding something special there, like a tweaker version of a hand mineable thing or whatever, or anything, just insert your own imagination there. It can all get done. It can all happen. It's just a matter of, it's. I think they're spending a lot of time just trying to get it to work, and they're just going to focus on like, all right, this great reward is a ship, but if the contested zone rewards aren't for you, it doesn't mean that they won't be at some point. I think that they're really going to want to make these desirable areas for most people to go.
Yep.
I mean, as long as you don't have a similar, similar mechanic to, I don't know, compete in an industrial way for better components. I think it's cool. Would be cool to add like industrial components to those zones. But hey, let's see.
Until
I'll
we
just say
have
there's-
proper like the cargo missions actually can give you a reward of some kind, right?
Yeah. But there's also
Yeah,
like one thing that's been kind of left out for a really long time is like decent cave exploration rewards, right? Like if you went deep into a cave where people would theoretically be mining like they used to in the old caves, and you found a good mining laser, like like that tracks, that makes sense. So they could still do it that way.
Yeah, that's also a good idea. I want some upgraded components because I'm jealous seeing people laser beaming and I don't get anything from stuff. But it's like the theme of Star Citizen for a long time, that most of the events are just fight focused or like for the PvP players. But hey, it's a good start.
Look, combat is the core of the game. It's always going to be that way, and I think it'd be weird to not think of combat as the core of the game. But you are still correct. It does not mean that there shouldn't be rewards for other aspects of the game that people enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool to see how many players are actually cargo running and mining. That would be interesting data. I would like to see, like how many players are really fighting, how many players are bounty hunting, and so on.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Are those contested zones because you have 6 servers in Pyro? I don't know how they are cut. Are the contested zones on their own server? Are they instance in a way? Because when I'm on a station and I'm in my instant hangars, my FPS is pretty good. The moment I leave the instant hangar, it's pretty bad. So my idea or my question is, if they're in a instant, the FPS of the contested zone should be pretty good, depending on how many players are in that server. That's
I don't think
sure,
they're
but-
instanced. I think they're
They're
part
not
of
instanced, no.
It would be good if they were, since you take an elevator to get to them, because it does. You do want performance there to be really, really, really good, but there shouldn't be
exactly.
But when
Yeah,
I
not
say
multiple
instance,
instances.
I don't think
Yeah,
there
yeah,
should be multiple instances in one game server. What I mean by that is
No.
ignore
I mean,
everything but contested zone, so you have the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
performance possible.
No, I mean, like one specific server just for that
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah, I get you. The DGS is not split that way. Unfortunately, I don't know if it necessarily needs to be, but we'll see. A lot of that will depend on the first like week or two of live, in terms of like how many people are just sitting at Checkmate Station doing Checkmate stuff, but also the contested zones, as well as I think I don't remember where. I'll say obituary instead, because that's also encountering Bloom, right? Like that's also a major planet, so it could become rough if you have like 150 people in just this one DGS. But I don't think that'll be the case. I think it'll quiet down and spread out pretty quickly, and then it'll probably be fine.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
I've also seen a Genelite, but it was a while ago. I went to a cave
Liar.
in Baymar.
Liar.
No, I don't have
No one has
screenshots.
ever seen
Believe me,
Genelite.
Croncy,
It's
believe
fake.
me.
It's not real.
It was worth a lot. I think I
Yeah.
sold like 80,000 per piece. That was a lot of money.
Yeah, wow.
Generally, it's awesome. Yeah, it's super.
Even
super
even
good.
with like current economy, that'd be good too. Like
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the balancing, that'd still be good.
Yeah. I was actually hoping that you could sell the parts of the animals for a good bunch of money, but it's
You
just,
can, but it's
I don't
not
know,
that
nuggets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would be
good. I think it's
cool
like
if you
15K
could.
for each Copian horn, something like that. It's actually not bad.
Oh,
That's not bad.
okay. Then
I'm
changed
guessing.
because
I
last
think.
time. Because last time I tried it, it was just like, I don't know, 50 alpha UEC or something. But
Maybe it's
fixed it.
15K per SCU.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that's what I have in my head. It's a
Yeah.
per SCU amount. So yeah, maybe it's kind of low.
Mm.
I don't know. In the end, we're crushing those up
yeah.
and crafting something with them, and that will be the valuable thing. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It would be cool to have a Genelite for something very specific to craft, because then you need to hunt that stuff for sure.
Exactly. People are going to be in
yeah.
pyro caves looking for it, maybe.
Last point. I don't know if you noticed this as well, but when I recently rewatched the last Citizen Con,
Okay.
and I don't know if you remember, but there was I don't know when did Chris say it or not, when they say Squadron 42 is feature complete, and a lot of teams are actually moving to Star Citizen now, and for a long time you didn't really feel it, you couldn't really see that. But when you see all the new people that were on stage on the last CitizenCon, I could actually feel that. It's like, okay, a lot of new faces. Also in the ISCs, a lot of new faces, a lot of people we've never seen before in the years before the Squadron 42 was feature complete. So I'm pretty optimistic about that things will speed up. I don't know if those things are the things we need, because I don't know if the gameplay people still need to work on Squadron 42, but you could guess it on the assets, on the stuff they shown about the base building and the space stations, which were pretty far along, and I wouldn't have guessed that they were so, far along, hindsight quotes, whatever. But it feels for me that those resources now do something for the citizen, and it speeds up, at least in the department of the assets.
Yeah, maybe in the asset department, but the take your feelings and try to use some logic here and remember the way it felt at 2023 SitCon of like, look at the polish. And then one of the things that I absolutely loved and thought was super polished and looked really good, looting inventory, right? Looting UI. And I'm suffering with it right now, and it's horrible. And like what you see at CitizenCon versus what you actually get are two different things. So just keep that in mind. That
No.
Just to clarify, because you've mentioned the looting a few times. What exactly have been your issues in 4.0, Mike? Because all of my issues that I've had with looting is just bugs.
Yeah, it's bugs for sure. But the teams that make those inventories are the teams who fix the bugs, and they're not fixing them. So what are they doing? Are they still working on Squadron? Are they still working on other things?
No.
Do they own 50 different things? Like you hear what Zach owns. This guy owns all of the FPS, owns all of the AI. Like Luke is like the law guy plus cargo plus this. Like there's all these people that own way too many things. And how are you supposed to manage all this? Torsten owns the entire experience that of like everything. And it's just like, how can we maintain a enjoyable experience if there's too much to do and not enough time to do it? So it's one of those things where it doesn't matter how many people you think are working on the game. It's not enough yet until the experience that you're having improves at a fast pace. I think
I excluded that because the gameplay stuff is still a bit lackluster, so you still I feel you need more people for the gameplay
Yeah.
development, but at least for the assets, you see a lot of progress and you see a lot of acceleration, I would say. Gameplay, like you mentioned, the teams seem too small or two people have too much on their table
Yeah.
to really improve things in a timely
In a
manner.
reasonable time frame.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
one last thing, because I saw you stream a couple of days ago, and you showed the
Is this Croncy or me?
no, you
Okay.
Mike, the map from what's the game called? God, I
Starfield?
forgot the name. Starfield, yeah.
Yep.
You showed the map for Starfield. Since you now see all the stuff you can get on the space stations, it would be also cool to see it for a planet, where it's like you click on the planet, you get this nice little side panel,
Yep.
and you actually get the information what you can find on that.
Yep. This
table,
planet
like
is
with
rich in rhyosite. This planet is rich in titanium.
but not from the beginning. It would be cool that you see it after you explored it, like with the question marks from Starfield, where you don't know what's on it until you either buy the information
Ooh,
later
that's
on,
a hot take.
or,
That's a
or
bit of a hot take.
I would agree if Star Citizen was a single player game. Because it's not, that information being unlocked by you is kind of pointless. Because Billy already unlocked it and posted it on Google.
Yeah,
posted it on
that's
the
true.
internet, right? So I already have that information.
I mean, you could do that in a single player game
yeah.
too, but it's more
maybe
like
you don't
in a
want
game
to
like Starfield, there's a lot of like randomization that's involved.
but maybe
right?
you
Ah,
want
okay.
to explore it. Maybe you don't want to see it on the internet. Maybe you want the game to tell you, or want to give the game give you a chance to explore it.
Regardless,
players
Croncy, you have to agree that it would be better for the game to have an in-game UI than to go to Red Monster's website. As much as we love him,
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
The sort of extension that I would point out is something that's almost certainly going to happen, which is what they've mentioned with base building, and that there will be certain locations on planets that change over time, and that's probably the important difference, where you're going to want to put your mining deploy or whatever your mining base and stuff. So to that aspect, basically what Space Monkey's saying, but more complex, is essentially what they're already trying to do. But that won't happen for a while, unfortunately.
Avenger One's in chat, and I just shouted him out in Twitch chat. He made a really good point too. If what you find on the surface of a planet gives you like a finder's fee when you find it, and then it makes it globally available because it's like as long as it's in a monitored zone, I think that's a really cool idea.
Like that reminds me of like No Man's Sky, when you like find a thing for the first time and you get a bunch of rewards for it. Yeah,
that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
All right. That's
All right.
it from me.
Thank you.
See you next one.
Yeah, man. Be good.
Sounds good. Catch
you. Bye.
Bye. All right. So our next caller is Jiggy. Jiggy, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you perfect.
Am I clear?
Very.
Sure are.
Excellent. So sorry. How are we, guys?
We're good. We're good.
Lovely.
That's great to hear. Yeah. Oh, I know that feeling, mate. Trust me. Yeah. So sorry. I've got to be honest. So Space Monkey nicked all of my good questions. I had a list of good ones. But
I swear this happens every week. Space Monkey's just too quick and just steals everyone's questions.
Yeah,
he's a professional, I'll tell you that. But okay, so extension points of what he's already stated. Whew. Okay, here we go. Okay, got to get my hands ready for this. So, Pyro has its contested systems. God damn it, contested areas where you get like shields, weapons, and even ships. How about, hopefully in the future, we might see Stanton have more like, what's the word for it? Oh, God, where's the word? Pyro handheld attachments. So more weapons for
non-combat?
Yeah, non-combat. Sorry, like more protection gear, like more suits for like high temperature, and less for
medical.
like battle. Because yeah, definitely. Or even interdiction equipment. Like if you've got a Cutlass Blue, you can upgrade your interdiction component, and it could be relied on reputation over time. So if you work with a company for a specific amount of time, it will, hopefully give you access to limited interdiction or even mining attachments or salvage so it can help players who are wanting to play that more peaceful route in Stanton, because it's really, really cool to see all the bloodthirsty people go to Pyro and have their fun and kill each other and complain about it. It's really fun. But there's people like me who just want to enjoy the game with its slow momentum and cargo and salvage and be a nerd and do that. But yeah, how do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I mean, if there's
I want
one,
Stanton to get safer now that we have a place that not.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
I think the big thing is, like, now that we have contested zones and we are seeing tangible, cool, good rewards that you want to get to upgrade yourself, other than just I need to loot some railguns. It's made it look like cool. All right, well, we want to see that across the board. We want to see the reputation rewards come in. We want to see special shops in certain locations that you can only buy stuff in those locations. All of that stuff needs to extend, and that of course includes to Stanton. Like it's everywhere. This is not just for this one feature, right?
Yeah. Like what we're kind of starting to see with Pyro is, instead of well, one thing that we're missing completely that nobody's mentioned yet, and it's so sad, is the Pyro weapons from the best ISC we had the entire year. Where are you? Where are you, my sweet children?
We want our Vault guns. We want the really weird SMG like mining tool thing.
Which so much of that stuff looked mega polished. Like, where is this stuff? It's crazy. So and there's basically a 0% chance that these come in 4.0 live, because because they would have tested them by now, because there's just way too many opportunities for super problematic things right before they're trying to push for live. They would have tried it. That's literally why the contested zone rewards are in. But that's one thing, and what maybe we're going to see in a place like Pyro is the things that you see in Stanton, but instead of the reward being a fresh and clean, very pretty, new, shiny thing, it is this tweaked thing. The Pyro weapons are actually the name's escaping me right now. Some sort of attritions, right? They're just like sawed off attritions, and the tweaker attachments for guns are the same attachments that we have now, but they're just tweaked, right? Things like that. Like, those are the kind of things that you're going to see in Pyro, is this very scavenged, salvaged, tweaked kind of thing. And then in a place like Stanton, you're going to get these fresh and high tech and like that kind of level stuff. So you can get, it's like kind of best of both worlds, since now we have two worlds in a way.
I mean, you can even see an extremely easy world. A reminder: Crusader build their ships in Stanton. That is their major manufacturing location.
That'd be
amazing. You can very easily see a world where there is reputation-based rewards, or even a contested zone-like type reward, like whatever it might. As in, when I say that, like sort of more missiony, where Crusader give you a much better version of a C2, or no, it's not much better, but a better version of a C2 with better components, or here we're going to give you the Moabs, but they're actually like plus 10% damage or something, right?
Yeah.
They can do that. So, and even from like a lore perspective, there's a lot of shit they can do right now.
Yeah, and then in Pyro, you can get Moabs, but they are cheap as hell.
Incendiary or something.
Yeah,
or just
maybe different damage. Yep.
EMP like rockets and whatnot, so they disable ships temporarily and whatnot.
Yeah.
That'd be
There's so
cool.
many opportunities. There's so many opportunities. It's just a matter of them doing it.
Yeah. Another question Space Monkey mentioned, and you guys mentioned, was Starfield's like global, or I think it was like system. If it was like scattered around, it was very ocean looking. What if scanning components were something that was earned by reputation, that allowed specific ships could go to planets and scan the surface and sell the data of the mining and the scanning to other players in that kind of way. And it'll create like this
CitizenCon 2023. You could place a marker, you could share it with people, and then they never did it. And then they never did it.
I've completely forgotten that feature as well.
Yep.
That's a good point, actually. There's also another thing in the 2023 or yeah, it was 2023. They mentioned the smaller wormholes that appear throughout, I think, Stanton and Pyro.
Yeah.
I
Anywhere.
want
I think it was early this year, but continue.
Was it anywhere?
No, they said that those would not be in this. They're meant to be like more challenging
future
jump points.
mechanics.
So the jump point that we have, they just wanted to work. And if you played Evo at all, they did not work for a really long time, and they're just getting better each time. So
Yeah.
from there, then they make those really challenging in terms of this one is very easy to get through, and you don't fail very often or at all anymore. And then
as well as they want to make them so that, like, yeah, you've got your individual ones that can only be used once. That you know, we'll skirt around some like they skirt around the regular trade lanes, I guess.
Yeah, and yeah, the specifically like secret trading, or not trading, like smuggling of like very
Yeah.
precious like drugs. If they have like a value or worth, I guess just digitally they do, but like practical uses for it, like smuggling components that you're not really meant to have in Stanton, or smuggling it into Pyro that you're not really meant to have, that could be something interesting. I'm also interested to see how they manage to utilize reputation on a negative scale against both Stanton and Pyro. So if you immediately start doing crime, maybe your reputation with, say, security will go down. So it like balances itself out. Because I don't know if you can in reality just start doing crime and then go, oh, now I'm a good guy, and go boost up your reputation and have both sides peaking up. It's got to be like one is lower than the other. You can't be both, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's another thing they have talked about.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so the reputation system.
Talking about it and doing it are different things, though. So we can talk about it too.
So the reputation system, they've mentioned that they want, like, yeah, if you you do some work for Xenothreat, you go to prison. You do some more work for Xenothreat, you go to prison. Eventually, like the reputation hit to you from like the CDF, I guess in this case, essentially, would be so much that it's like actively hard for you to stay in Stanton without spending ages building that reputation back up. They have talked about that before. They have even talked about, and this is one that we sort of brought up before when we were talking about people complaining about PvP and Pyro, about how, yeah, if you start killing indiscriminately rough and ready people, they're gonna stop letting you land there. All right, cool, and well, now I can't refuel, whatever, right? Once again, that's been all talk. None of this has been put into the game.
Starfarer works excellently now.
Yes, which is awesome. That's a big thing that they needed to get in for 4.0.
Yeah.
So it's certainly in their intent.
Intention
is sort of the
funny
way that
word.
we finish that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I hate to be honest here, but I'm fairly new to this game. I got in this year in January, and I've been watching kind of in the sidelines for the past like maybe 2 years. And I think that what brought me in so much was how open the community is within like starting up the game and trying to teach other players how to play the game, and giving them millions of dollars immediately, and then losing the value of worth and like trying to earn it back when a wipe occurs. It's such a fascinating cycle where you get tempted to purchase stuff, and you're like, oh, how about I grab all my friends and we go do whatever and do this, do that, do that. And I think it's such a unique game that you won't really see anything like it. Hopefully, well, sorry, correction. We haven't seen anything like this game.
No,
in my opinion,
you probably never will.
Seen anything like it. Maybe not.
Yeah, no,
it's a massive waste of money.
Yeah.
The
the huge scale is like one of the biggest reasons why you won't ever see this happen again, unless Star Citizen is a insanely successful hit. Right?
Yep, and they sell their own proprietary engine tech, so other people do it, because I don't think anybody will try to make it from scratch. So
Riot are going to come out with a Star Citizen competitor in like a year. That's what they've been doing with all of their games recently.
Yeah.
Someone
still waiting on the MMO.
Yeah, someone in chat asked why I had joined the quote-unquote shit show. And I think it's because I grew up without a lot of video games, and the first video game I ever played was, I think, Just Cause 2. And I think it was such a cool experience. It's such a cool experience, open world, blowing things up, and it was awesome. And then 2 years later, because I played this game quite recently, and then 2 years later, I'm like, oh, there's these people on YouTube like flying ships through space. It sounds like the what's that other game where you can fly from space to planet surface? It's not Elite Dangerous. It's No Man's Sky. That's it. And I had seen some gameplay of it.
I thought he was
but
talking
I'm
about Quanga.
No, I'm sorry.
What is Quanga?
You don't know?
Oh, no.
You guys are missing out.
I got to look Quanga. I got to put that on my schedule. I got to figure out what that is.
No.
And it had that realistic look that I was really searching in for like a video game, and I specifically worked to get a PC to play the game, and it was such an amazing experience flying out into space and seeing giant planets and going, there's no way I can fly to it, right? I quantum to it and I can land on it and I can touch the ground with my feet. And sorry, I'm ranting now, but I think it's such a beautiful game that has so much uniqueness in its style and its art design that it's unmatched and probably won't be beaten for some time now. But yeah.
Look, there's a reason we're still here making this podcast, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a lot of the sort of stuff that you mentioned. So
yeah,
it's been an honor being here, though, gentlemen, and I will leave you with the next caller.
Yep, and let me know how you feel in about a year or so, because it's going to be very
positive. Don't worry.
I've been on the high train since 2019. Don't worry, it's all good.
Is it in the water?
No, I've spent my first grand already, so I'm pretty happy. Good lord.
Yep.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
That'll do it.
I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I don't care. I'm happy with it.
Good. That's all that matters, dude.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one. Bye now.
Cheers for the call.
Small timer. All right. Sir Thaddeus, welcome, man.
Sir Thaddeus.
Hey. Good morning. Good evening, guys. How you doing?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Oh, not bad. So, dude, that video that you showed a minute ago of the was that a contested zone armor reward?
Yes. So you can find pieces of those armor in the reward rooms.
That is the Fire Rats armor. It's called
Fire Rats.
There's armor, weapons, and attachments for weapons. So you can have a full weapon in that color. It's really cool.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's not just those either. So those are the scorched ones, and then there's also the do you remember what the name of the other one is, Mike? The really good ones.
Tweaker,
yeah.
The tweaker don't look different. They just they have different stats. The scorched stuff has same stats as the normal stuff, but looks different. So one is like fashion citizen, and one is star citizen, I guess.
Yeah. When I first saw that's the first time I saw it was in the video, and first thing I thought was, ooh, that's gonna look good with my Arc-Light Glimmer pistol.
There you go. Yeah.
I have no idea what I got that pistol for, but I love it. And so anyway,
Arc-Light's pretty good.
Yeah.
The just that glimmer paint, that iridescent color shifting, I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as what I wanted to talk about was more so crafting. And
I'm always down.
When did they first introduce the Arastra? Was it Invictus last year?
IAE last year.
IAE last year. Yeah. And it said they could carry the rock miners and all that stuff. And the first thing I thought of when they said that was, okay, rock minables, they're small little whatevers. I'm like, that'd be perfect for reagents. So you're mining your big minerals, you can use rock minables as reagents for crafting down the line. And then they talked about catalysts. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
They did. I don't think it's going to go that way, though.
I don't
the specific way you're mentioning, because they specifically talked about how essentially all materials will have refining, including stuff that you get from animals and whatnot. The some of that stuff will be reagents. I imagine rock mining and hand mining stuff will just also be regular refinery stuff.
For sure. But the idea, it just kind of got the wheels spinning, and it got me really pumped for that idea. But the one thing that they don't really talk about is, could possibly data be a component in crafting? Okay. Did either one of you play Elite Dangerous at all? I know it's blasphemous to bring that up, but
a while
so
ago.
you could scan, emission signatures when somebody jumped out, and you got a like field harmonics data from that, and that became a component in crafting. That would be something I think would be really cool to see, kind of, weaseled into a crafting recipe is scan data. It gives us something to trade from on the data market.
Possibly. I mean, they could also just make those blueprints, right? Theoretically.
Yeah, that's true.
Or variants of blueprints, possibly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That'd be something that'd be pretty sweet.
They
But
could do
as far
anything.
Yeah.
that's the exciting part about it, is it's just like, okay, they can do anything, but that's just an idea. And as far as in Pyro, how we have we don't have the solar flares now, but in the future, could that have an effect on the data that you're carrying? So it degrades it. You have data loss. You might lose a particular count of whatever data you're carrying.
It might, to a lot of our viewers, it might sound a bit pie in the sky, but I actually think that's probably more likely than some people might think. The like when data running in general becomes a thing. There's an implication with the removal of the emissions at the same time that engineering got removed, that is because they are going to be a bit more intertwined, and that they're going to interact with components and whatnot in like maybe a little bit of a different way than what we experienced, where it was just like an EMP pulse. I would imagine when they get to data running and essentially the kind of gameplay you're explaining, that losing power to your big hard drive that's got all your data will probably negatively affect you, right?
I mean,
right.
They said data running would be a thing. They have to make it worth something. And I'm sorry if you can hear
the
my
MSR
dog
has
is
to do something at
dreaming.
some point.
My dog is dreaming in the back, so I don't know if you guys can hear her. Just making these funny sounds.
But yeah, I think that's pretty realistic, is that it'll have an impact.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just it was a thought, and I just kind of expand on it, and was curious what your thoughts were on it. And that was pretty much all I wanted to talk about. But I just wanted to kind of also go along with the previous callers as far as I'm loving the CZs. I am not particularly an FPS guy. I love these contested zones. I really do.
Such a change of pace, man. You're just in it right away, and you die, and you get right back in it. Now, let me tell. This is another thing that we maybe should have asked everybody. How bad do you not want Death of a Spaceman after playing contested zones? Or how bad do you want it? There's no penalty for death.
Always. No, yeah, as always, it
to
depends
the character.
on just how brutal Death of a Spaceman will be, right? But I do want more of a penalty than what it is right now, where it's literally just, all right, I'm back 20 seconds later with the same stuff.
You do lose your armor, and we're in a situation where everybody has 15 million credits. When you don't, that shit's gonna hurt. Go ahead and buy 100 rounds of ammo. It's like 50K now. It's no joke. So the payments that you're making are going to be pain at some point, but
that's fair.
There's no actual penalty to your actual character right now. Yeah. So I'm curious what people think.
But it's Death of a Spaceman. I don't even think about it personally, because it's just who knows what they're going to do with it. But
we'll
anyway, Jiggy said before he left his final thought, the SC community, hands down, I started playing it in 2014. I downloaded an account or a client, whatever you want to call it, played it a little bit, didn't touch it again until 2020.
Smart move.
And I didn't even join an org until 2022. And since then, I mean, I have made some great friends in an org. And a little bit outside of it too. The community is literally, what game have you ever played where it has a community like dreaming together? It's awesome. So there's really nothing like it. But I appreciate you guys, the show you do, and having me on today. And
of course.
Yeah, that's it.
Of course, man. You keep enjoying stuff and keep having fun. Oop, and don't let anybody tell you not to. including
Absolutely.
me. All right, bro.
Absolutely.
Talk
Take
to
care,
you
guys.
later.
That's your fattiest.
Bye now. All right, we're mowing through the callers now. 3 left. This is Shark's Bite. Excuse me. How you doing?
How you doing, Sharks?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
So I guess first I'll just start where Mike left off there with the death of a spaceman thing. I kind of see where they wanted to go with it, and I like the original idea, but where we're at now, honestly, I just care more about the aesthetics, the scars, prosthetics, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that stuff would be cool.
a little bit of a reputation hit or something if you're dying a lot, but maybe disable it when you're in the contested zones or in specific areas. That way, like, you're not taking hits. Like, I don't know if anyone's played like the original Guild Wars or whatever. I was on like a 8.5 hour grind trying to get to the next level, and we got down to where we were at like 40% of our stats, and we just couldn't get past this level because we kept dying. And that kind of gameplay just really isn't my thing. If you can go down past a certain point where you're just like, oh, I've lost all of my reputation just because I kept dying in this one area, that's not fun. And so like a little bit of monetary loss, a little bit of a reputation hit or something. But we have regen tech. It's 900 years in the future. I don't see why our character would just completely die unless somehow it got like corrupted or whatever, a la Altered Carbon.
That's where they are going. That's the idea behind it, is your DNA gets corrupted or something. But it's just a goofy idea when you see like what they're okaying and what we're playing now just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, there'll be like there'll be a problem. A lot of people were talking about how like they didn't like the idea of contested zones because they would just be camped by like a big org for a really long time. The fact that you can respawn immediately and that the people inside there will presumably run out of ammo and you can just throw bodies at the problem, right? Is a reason why that's not as much of an issue. If Death of a Spaceman did exist, that would become an issue, so other things would have to change. So,
as far as the launch and whatever before the end of the year, I've been playing this since the first Evo patch and whatever, and it has been improving a lot. They've been making like leaps and bounds in progress, but it's still nowhere near anything that I'd want to see live for like another month.
Yeah, and you don't even, so if you say another month, that actually means March.
Like literally mid-January to, well, yeah, sure.
Because
like,
everyone's on vacation.
Of course. And that wouldn't bother me. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but they said 2024. Like, I don't care. Like you've said, there's only one 4.0, and there are things that they never should have pulled from the release, like the transit refactor. Of all of the bugs that are persistent that keep hitting us, that keep stopping us from doing stuff, the transit refactor is over and over and over the worst part of 4.0.
How many elevators have not worked in the last couple days for you? They have all worked for me.
I've had a couple of issues, but like all workaroundable.
Yeah. I mean, I had several days where I couldn't even get off of a planet because I couldn't get called back up or whatever. And it's more the like exploitable bugs, like the thing where people were quantum jamming the jump gate because they were flying behind it and whatever. As far as like PvP is concerned, I really like the idea of like open world PvP, and like you never know who's going to be safe. The whole Dark Forest thing, like as soon as you make a noise in a forest, everyone knows you're there and then they can kill you. But at the same time, there's a difference between that and like, again, the people who are shooting people in the back of their head as they leave their spawns. And I think pretty soon the people who are doing that are going to find out like there's a difference between that kind of gameplay or quote unquote gameplay and like playing the game for fun. Like pretty soon you're not going to be allowed, eventually rather, when we get reputation, you're not going to be allowed to land at stations if you're a murder hobo, and you're not going to be able to refuel or buy ammo or buy food or water. But until we have something like that in the game, it's just something where they're probably going to have to get really harsh with their bans for a while. And I think that's the wrong way to go about it. They should have focused on the reputation system years ago, but we are where we are.
Yeah, well, and one of the things, so like anytime that they've banned people for griefing, there's always been this argument, well, our game isn't good enough to police itself at the moment, and that argument is no longer valid after 4.0
Yeah.
releases. It's time to
Well-
focus on the security around a station is mega high. If you lock onto a target and cross a threshold of aggression, then you die, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
if you do that elsewhere in a place like Stanton, then security shows up and you die. And that needs to, talk about other things that need to be a focus in 2025. That's one of them. And then there's no more of this, oh my God, I'm being griefed. Let me go make a report on Spectrum. And then these people are getting banned. Listen, there are some weirdos out there, man. And they're being very weird, right?
I mean, look at the videos that people made about Jake.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah, don't even
but yeah,
don't even give them the light of day, but you just did. So yeah, that's we
Sorry.
said it at the beginning not to
But-
say it, and you did. But
okay, sorry about that.
yeah, you're good.
But back to the PvP thing, like they've already told us, like, yeah, if we turn the AI's stats all the way up, like you don't see them, they can shoot you from a mile away. They're super. Make the security like that. Give them the ultimate AI as far as like when you push the security up. I made a thread years ago about like if you accidentally friendly fire around a station, they should hit you with the distortion. They should like time you out for a sec and say, hey, bad, don't do that. And if you keep doing it, it goes up in escalation to the point where you're getting missile turrets and Idris is spawned at you and whatever. Make it so that it escalates as your crime escalates and so that it gives other people a chance to like get away from you. If you're distorted, you're screwed. But anyway, that's kind of my take on the whole PvP thing. Like if you're in an area that should be safe, security should be strong enough and good enough to make it so no one really has a chance.
Exactly. And the argument always was that the game couldn't do it. And now the argument can no longer be that the servers can't handle it. Now it's do it. Now it's just do it. So now you as a player can need, like, I'm just of the point that yes, there's some weirdos out there in the community being weird, but the people who are being weird are always going to, like, it's the internet. There's just fucking weird people out there, right?
Yep.
But the idea of it's not just a small section of people that are going to PK and that are going to get called, like, legitimate PvP gets called griefing all the time. And it's a matter of creating the game rules, setting those game rules, and that's it. And if you cross the line and say horrible shit in the chat or other things, then you get banned. But I am legitimately tired of seeing PvP, even if it's from weird places, that's what is getting banned in the game, because CIG cannot control the security in the game or whatever, right? And protect players from having fun. And it's a very much a game issue that has turned into this outside the game issue. And I'm not advocating for anybody at all, just to be clear. I think, again, it's a lot of weird shit. But the idea here is that the game needs to fix itself in a lot of ways, and then when it crosses lines that are very clear, then you that's when bans need to happen. But the game needs to do a lot of the security, and it has not been. So
yeah. And I think like the only kind of niche area where I would say we need some slightly different rules are in PTU, especially like Wave 1. Early on, we had, like, as soon as it opened up, and we know why it opened up earlier, but as soon as it opened up to Wave 1, we had people that were just going around and hunting people who were just trying to replicate bugs. I'm like, guys, there's a time and a place.
That's CIG's problem, not
This
yours.
isn't it.
You shouldn't be complaining about the people.
Well, I mean,
you should be complaining that they went Wave 1 when they shouldn't have.
Yep. But
that's it.
How are they going to get the server load? And that was kind of the counter argument.
Then you go Wave 1 and you say PvP is not allowed. They never did it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought they should have done, but I don't know how they'd like enforce that or whatever, because they don't have people with NDAs and all that shit.
Yep.
Anyway.
It's
That's
a weird
all
one.
I've said my piece. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and
cheers for coming on.
just to be clear, I'm not like
Yep.
upset at you. I'm just I
Oh,
think
no,
that
I
we need to
understand.
we need to point the blame in the right places, and the places are at CIG almost 900% of the time. Like it's just
for sure.
they have dropped the ball over and over and over again, and we blame the players for mistakes that the company has made. I find it silly.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yep.
All right, Shark.
You guys take care. Have a good one.
You too, man.
Yeah, catch up.
Well, I hope he calls in again. I hope he doesn't feel attacked by me. That's for sure. Okay, but that was not my intention. But I feel like maybe it's coming that way. All right, Sergeant Lobster, welcome. How you doing?
What's up, guys? I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you perfect,
Feel
loud and
okay.
clear.
Thank you for having me on. Let me mute the stream here.
Of course.
All good.
How's everything been? I haven't called in a while. I watch every week, but I haven't actually talked to you guys. It's nice to be back on. I'm nervous,
Good.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think this is the
There's
most
nothing to be
people
nervous
to
about.
ever hear my voice at one time. So,
Yeah.
but I'm in a weird spot with Star Citizen because I'm like super excited because I've been a long-term backer. So 4.0 has been like this hurdle that we've been waiting for forever, and it's finally like here. I went to a Bar Citizen yesterday. That was really fun. There was a bunch of like streamers there and everything like that. So my hype levels for SC are super high. I'm feeling very excited.
Yep.
But when I play 4.0 on the PTU, I get like whiplash because it's just so it's like they need to get it out. They need to get over the hurdle, but they also cannot release it right now. I mean, like missions barely working, station services barely working, racing not in there at all. I mean, imagine if you just owned a racing ship, 4.0 is finally here and there's nothing for you to do. I know, Mike, you like to mine. Have you had any success mining in 4.0 at all?
Yesterday we could, yeah. So it's actually working now. You could scan the rocks and you can mine them, and everything's fine. The only issue that I had was I got the green zone so small that it wasn't even there anymore, and I still broke the rock, but I couldn't see it. So that was a fun bug. But outside of that, it was it works. It just wasn't very enjoyable because it was hard to find what you're looking for. I never found anything exciting or anything like that to mine. So it wasn't a great experience, but it was there.
Are there specific like pyro only minerals?
Well, there are new minerals. I don't know if they're
minerals.
I don't know if they're pyro only. So there's like rhyosite, tin, raw ice,
raw silicon. So that might be a good point, actually. Yeah, we might have to go check out Stanton and see if they've been added to those.
I know it's so much ground to cover, and then you have no data. So it's like,
I was going to say they took the client-side data away, right? So you really have to just go out and do some on-the-ground research.
You just go wherever, and none of your research is going to amount to a sample size that's going to give you any true information, right? So it's like,
unless it was like literally strictly, there is no ice here, there is no silicon here, there is no rickite here, whatever.
Yep. That's
It'd be
all
cool
I
if you
look
could
for
like
is what is here, what did I see, and that's all I can go with.
It'd be cool if you could like do like an environmental scan and be like, okay, this area has these, I don't even know, hand wavium sci-fi terms, and if you know that it has like those conditions, okay, these conditions typically produce aluminum, for example, and you know that you can go mine there. But anyway, I've had no success mining in 4.0, and I'm like you, Mike, in that I'm an industry guy. I want to just go out and mine, and I want to get with other people where I can have like my friends ship my refined goods back to Stanton, to ArcCorp, for example, to sell. But I haven't been able to mine a single thing just because I can't bring up the interface, right, to see where the sweet spot is, the green zone and everything like that. That's just not coming up at all. So I don't know what the answer is, because it's like, do they delay again?
Maybe take a prospector out.
Yeah.
Moles have been buggy the entire PTU pretty much.
Yeah, I mole mine like an idiot. I know. I have a prospector in my account for some reason. I have no idea why, but yeah, I don't know if the answer is to delay the patch again and then deal with the shitstorm that is delaying the patch, or release it in this state. But it's like there's just too many eyes on 4.0. There's a certain
It's more than just
standard.
It's more than just us. If we watch it, if we see it be a shit show, it's okay. We're not going anywhere because we're dumb. We need new dummies. We need new dummies.
Simp for Chris Roberts. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have, like, I have so many friends who backed the game many years ago because I gave them the sales pitch on how cool Star Citizen was going to be, and then they came in and it was garbage, and then they're like, okay, I'll wait for server meshing, I'll wait for Pyro, I'll wait for 4.0, and then they're going to come back, and is still nothing going to work for them? Are they ever going to come back?
That is a story that happens literally every year with like every time there just is a new player acquisition time, whether that's Invictus, IE, or whatever, of people being like, man, this was cool. I'm not going to play it next week, but maybe next year, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've got to imagine that pool of players is extraordinarily high.
Right.
Those are the kind of players that will come in for 4.0 and did come in for 3.18, right? One of the big issues of 3.18 was just like by a magnitude of 10 or something, we increased the player count for that like week.
They should have called it 325. They should have called it 325, focused on the tech, and then delivered 4.0 when the tech was more solid. And that would have lived up to what people expect of it. And
I don't know if it was you, Mike, that said it on one of your videos or something, because I watch so many content creators like many of us do. But like, do isolated Stanton server messing 325?
Yeah, I think a lot of people
bring server
said
meshing
that.
into Stanton.
Yeah, that wasn't
would have been
exclusive
a really
to me.
good idea.
Yep.
Yeah, they said they were going to do it. They said it during I think it was last year's letter from the chairman.
Like, it was a possibility.
It was objectively said.
Yeah.
No, it was objectively said, like, this is what we're going to do. But objectively in, like, these are our plans, and obviously they can change. But they literally said, like, we will do a patch with server meshing, and then we will do Pyro, right, afterwards. They didn't do that.
Yeah, like one patch. I mean, and it's cool. It's cool to get it all in one go. You know, Pyro's finally here, server meshing's finally here, jump gate's finally here. It's like a very hype, exciting patch. You know, it's one that you want to come back and play, but you know, when you actually get back in and play, is it something you want to keep playing? We'll see.
Exactly. And the whole thing about 4.0 is this huge leap, but it's not a huge leap in the player experience yet. And it was never supposed to be. It was supposed to be this huge leap in tech. Things are going to get unstable. We're doing all these things, all these moving parts. And I
with the
feel
exception
like,
of contested zones, but that's why it's like such a big feature.
Yeah.
And they're fun. I gotta say, I've had some good fun in them. I typically don't PvP. I know you guys have kind of talked that to death today, so I don't want to do that again. But I mean, they are really cool experiences. I gotta say, I'm not a PvPer at all. I probably PvP like once a year, and it's cool to go in there and just check them out. I like how diversified the locations are when you go through. Like, each little zone feels different, and it's like cool because like
they're also huge. Just like physically
so
massive.
Big. And then there's so many different areas to go. So it's like, you know, if Mike, you and your entire stream were in the contested zones, like dominating it, I feel like I could still go through them as a solo player and like crawl through the vents and like be able to get around you guys and maybe see some success, which is kind of cool too. They did a really good job on like location design. Obviously we just need higher FPS in there. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting some pretty low FPS to be a PvP environment in them.
Yeah, you need to be 60 plus minimum for it to be playable, but it's not, and we just deal with it. But it's not ideal, that's for sure.
Like we said earlier, we're idiots. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to take up too much time. If you have other callers, I mean, that's I'm like cautiously optimistic. I'm like anxiety ridden on whether 4.0 is going to go live next week and be broken, and I'm going to look like a snake oil salesman to all my friends when I finally say 4.0's back, you guys, or 4.0's live. You guys said you would come back for 4.0. It's live. Come back and play with me. And then it comes back and I'm an idiot again. So.
And then your friends are like, you're a bad friend.
Yeah, exactly. You wasted my money, you idiot. But we'll see what goes on. So looking forward to it. Either way, I'm excited for Star Citizen as a concept, as an idea. I don't know if I'm excited to play it, but we'll see. And I guess we'll see what happens next week. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Of course, Lobster. Be good, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Gotcha, man.
All right, and I see Clever Bard in the green room. Snugs is going to be our last caller. We're coming up to the 2-hour mark plus. I got to bring my car to the shop again. So, and we said we would be there by like now. So we'll make him the last caller. But thank you. Did he just pop out?
Hello.
Oh no! Oh, the green room guy popped out. Hello,
Hi.
Snugs.
Sorry, I had to go mute the mute the stream.
All good.
It's all good.
Just wanted to say thank you for having me. I've been kind of shadow watching mainly Mike and Croncy, a little bit of you for the last couple months.
Get wrecked,
a lot.
Croncy. What a nerd.
And so, but
He's mine.
thanks. This is my first live podcast, so thank you.
Welcome.
I have, I
Welcome
guess,
in.
two maybe semi-quick-ish questions. The first is one of the ships that when I backed the game a couple years ago was just like I need to have it, of the the child wants the Lego set brain, was the merchantman. And I think
boy. Here we go.
in listening to the last sitcom and them talking about 1.0 and specifically like kind of that quote unquote next jump of base building with marketplaces, obviously a million unanswered questions, so I'm not trying to read into anything too aggressively. The merchantman seems like an utterly pointless ship now, with the changes they're making. Of like, you go to a base and there's a Moby-Glass app for a marketplace. Like, I don't understand what you would ever do as a group of people trying to sell like a bunch of different commodities out of a ship.
Well,
And I
there's
feel like
there's one massive bonus the BMM has that a base doesn't have, which is that it can move.
Yep.
So like you being able to take all of your goods and try to sell them at this one location. Hey, it's not working as well, and you can on the same day, within an hour, go multiple systems away, try to sell it there, is a huge deal. I'll use everyone's favorite example, and the YouTube chat will love this. EVE Online, you have your multiple trade hubs. You'll try to sell stuff at Jita. Maybe if it's not doing too well in Jita, or you're not getting the money that you want from it, you'll have to spend a lot of time and effort to move it to another trade hub. In which time as well, you're risking all your cargo and whatnot. The BMM, in theory, because it is essentially getting reconcepted, I imagine, is that you can literally, move them wherever you need, including in places that aren't trade hubs that people might need that sort of, whatever you're selling, as well as in a pretty protected way. Like, it has some beefy firepower, right? So
that's a good point. Yeah,
that's going to be the big thing. It's also, people will use it like a mobile base as well, just straight up. So there's still always going to be that part of it. What I will say, and I was going to say I imagine, but no, this will almost certainly be the case. You will likely, if you have a base on a UEE owned planet, so like this probably won't happen in Pyro, but if you have like a base on somewhere in Stanton, you'll probably have to pay taxes on your transactions.
Yeah.
If you're on a BMM, I imagine that will not be the case. So you may also be able to skirt taxes and increase your profit margin that way.
Yep. It's but the whole thing is it's probably risky to be in a ship with all that stuff, and who knows? Who knows? They had ideas, and we had ideas in our head, and then the implementation starts to go a different way. Like like Kraken Privateer, the Band of Merchantmen, all these things they're gonna need to start changing a little bit. If for example, like if I'm selling size 3 components on my Band of Merchantmen, how do I get those from my ship to your ship? And is there a landing pad? Like, does the ship have to change entirely or what? So I'm almost positive we're gonna get the not for 1.0 on a lot of ships pretty soon.
It feels like it's increasingly falling into the category, like, I thought they tried to do it rather sneakily at IE of John Crew being like Endeavor modules after 1.0. It's like, that's the whole point of the Endeavor is to have the modules.
I just want a spine of a ship with nothing.
Right. Exactly. But anyways, okay, and then I guess my closing question is, I guess Croncy, you might not know about this, and Mike, just to be clear, this is not political at all, but one thing that every incoming like American president has is like their 100-day plan of like, this is all the stuff that I'm gonna do as fast as possible with like executive power and stuff. And I was really thinking about this the other day of like, if the two of you guys were magically in charge of CIG and Star Citizen and Squadron development, like, what are the first things that you would do in your 100 days to kind of change it up, because I feel like there's so many people there that are so talented and care so much about the game and have such a great skill set. I mean, like I know maybe you saw like Jake isn't working there anymore as of a couple days ago, which is super sad. But like, what would you guys do in your first 100 days of running CIG?
Go ahead,
To
Croncy.
kind of,
It would be like, because not much is going to happen in 100 days, but it would be like prioritizing, right? So I would further prioritize economy and like player interaction economy. Like we were talking before about how we really want a player trading UI so that when we do these contested zones, we can actually trade these in a nice fashion that isn't just, hey, come to my freight elevator, trust me, bro.
yeah.
So it's stuff like that would be where I would go, but like I'm not a game dev. I wouldn't trust myself to to do any of this, you know.
Yep. So that's why I'm going to take a different route. Jared is not gone, but Jared will no longer be doing weekly updates. He will be doing monthly updates. The live servers there will never be another .1 ever again. There will be the patch, and then you will never update it until the next patch. That is actually a patch with stuff. Or I would close the live servers altogether, and we would do a pseudo No Man's Sky, shut the doors, stop making developers that need to work on actual features and move the game forward, having to look back and fix things that are in the game already implemented and trying to maintain them all the time. Deliver an actual experience, gather feedback, close the doors, fix them, open the doors again. Right? And then every month, maybe a play test that goes on for a week or whatever, close the doors, do it again, like every other game studio does, instead of just maintaining this live environment that Jared keeps saying, you know, is so difficult and, you know, nobody else does this. Nobody else does it because it's fucking stupid. And that's why nobody else does it. And it's why we have 99% of the problems that we have today is because of that. And it would make the product go faster and be delivered. It would make the game experience be better, and it would make the work environment be better for the people who are working there, most likely, because they're not going to be constantly having to go back and maintain things that all have future fixes for them down the pipeline, i.e. transit refactor. Constantly fixing elevators are why we don't have the transit refactor, and everyone knows it, and it's so obvious. And I don't know that to be true, but I think it's incredibly obvious. Actually, I think we do know it to be true because they said it on like an SCL or something. If we were to do anything, we wouldn't have done this without doing the transit refactor first or whatever, right? So
yeah, it would be better for the game's health. The big problem, probably CIG would go bankrupt in that situation.
No, because you could still sell the picture of a ship and everyone will buy it and buy based off an idea like they always do. I said nothing about stopping the ship sales. You could still do them.
You would not sell as many ships if
every month your playtest has a brand new ship in it that you could fly around and pay $500 for, and these guys would still eat it up. So I don't know. It's or you can put them into the current patch that you have, but you're not delivering all the other new features with it, right? So you could do a .1 and deliver the new ship and do the monthly ship sales and all the the cool new shiny, but the cool new shiny gameplay will remain the same. And if there is, you know, some nasty bugs, we'll get them in the next release, guys. And the next release isn't constantly churning out all the time. So
I have one amendment on Mike's plan. Turn that monthly video into a monthly Jax McCleary video, and we hire the voice actor full time to work at CIG.
Hey, that might be cool. Yeah, like I just think when you do like a monthly updates, it's just like, whoa, look at all the stuff, and then the monthly update comes right before the patch, and then you go in and you play all the things that they're updating you on, right? And I think it just would have a lot more weight. That's all.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like because I backed 2.5 years ago, bought the game because a friend got me into it at Invictus, I think. and
Makes
then
sense.
played it, had like an objectively crap experience because I didn't understand anything. Put it down. It was for 6 months. It was like, well, this was a waste of money, and then got back into it and really started like more following the development. I think something that was so appealing initially was, oh my god, there's so much information all the time. Like, look, we have a video a week and a website post a week. And my other big game is Tarkov, where the developers never tell you anything ever. So it was like,
I
oh,
wouldn't
this
say
is
ever,
so
but
cool.
it's
Well,
a lot
I
less
mean,
consistent. Yeah.
right. I mean, Nikita hops on Twitter once every 6 months to tell you anything meaningful about the game. And I think the more time I've watched all the videos and everything, it's like, well, we don't really ever learn that much week to week. And like, it's just got to take a financial and time investment every single week to make these things. And then you get to SitCon where, like, I wonder, like the devs who got on stage and their teams, you only worked on that for weeks, I'm sure, in advance, and that's time you could have probably better spent.
I mean, from
as
Jared,
in
from the update
panel,
from
not the
Jared.
feature, right?
Yeah, in the panel, like to get the
okay.
deliverables ready for the panel.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
just to, no.
But
Thank you.
even from like the standpoint of Jared and the weekly updates, like how much weight does any of this shit have? That like you go in there and you hear what he has to say and hear what the devs have to say, and then nothing ever really comes of this stuff. Like sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It's brutal, right? It's like every week you watch this stuff and you get excited by some of the things they say, and then you wait and you wait and you wait, and it never happens. And it's like that's the problem with the weekly updates, and that's the problem with these saying something's going to happen before the company is even capable of delivering it, and it's just gotten so dumb, dude. It's gotten so dumb.
Or let's go on stage at SitCon and then just not talk about it. Like I in my career, like I'm an architect, and I was super jazzed for the instanced apartments and stuff.
Yeah,
what
happened?
Of like, well, exactly. It's like you didn't mention it as even a slide in the base building thing.
Yep.
Like, I want to base build for 2 years and then get a little older on in life and probably have an apartment in a city where I can log in once a week and I don't have to worry about anything. And it's just like, is that just off the table? Like I got invested and excited.
Who knows?
Nothing. And I know that's kind of the story of the development of this game that has been going on for longer than I've backed it. But
I'll just say for that particular thing, this year's CitizenCon was very thick, as in like there wasn't a lot of time for them to put extra stuff into a lot of things. So I imagine there is stuff getting worked on like that maybe just got cut, maybe isn't as, or maybe hasn't had as much progress as some of these other features have. But that one in particular that you're mentioning, they haven't talked about for a little bit, like in anything. So,
sad.
I think that was it from me.
All right,
but
that's
thank
cool.
you guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, cheers for the call. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Bye now. All right, and I think that's where we leave the show this week. So, thank you for watching. I don't know why I feel like sad now after being like, they probably should close the door. Nothing matters. Everything they say is meaningless, and I'm just like, oh wow, now I'm depressed. But
I mean, to bring it back to just to the start of the whole thing is like, 4.0 probably will come out this week. If not, they will push it to like the very last day, like Monday next week. I imagine is like the last possible day. I doubt that it'll be Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of improvements on the PTU. There still is a lot more to be done. I think there's a world they can fix a lot of the bugs in the next week. However, I don't think there's a world where we have a solid release.
Yeah, they don't fix all of them. Even if they waited until March, they wouldn't have a solid release. It's just about making it. You got to bring it up to some level of standard because that it's not just us that are playing. So you just got to take the extreme jank out of it so people are like, ooh, I can see.
Yeah.
Right? They just got to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel if there is one. And if they're capable of doing that by the end of the week, then that's great. If they're not, then they should wait. But I don't think they're going to. And all I want to say is if anybody from CIG is actually listening that has any power to decide any of this stuff, if you're doing this based off of a ship sale, that's sad. If you're doing it because you want to get this out the door so you can keep moving forward, then that's a totally different story, in my opinion. but you have to recognize that 4.0 holds a lot more weight than a 325 or a 324 or 323 because you've done this shit all year and it's always released on a ship sale, and it's been pretty painful that you know there was more work to do, but the ship sale had to come out. And the Guardian just isn't that cool to be. It doesn't
not
hold
to warrant the early release. Yeah,
for a 4.0, but for anything else it could have. Right. So that's my thing, is just make the right choices for the right reasons. And I don't know what those reasons are. We can only guess. So ship sale, for me, it's not enough. But if it's we have to get out of 4.0 and start working on 4.1 and 4.2 and 4.3 because that's how we finish the game, then that's a totally different story to me. And just talk to us and be honest, and that's it. So no matter what, I'll find my fun in the game. It's just they have to find their funding. And if it's still coming from us, then the game has to be an enjoyable experience. I think that it has been proven very, very easily that the lack of the enjoyable experience is the reason for your lack of funding. So just open your eyes, and that's it. So, all right. So next week is our last week. And I think just in case something crazy happens, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about potential release of 4.0. And then at the same time, what do we want to see for next year? Right? We'll probably do our predictions, future kind of thing. Will next year be the year? You know, that kind of crap.
What year will be the year of Star Citizen?
I don't. Yeah, who knows? Probably never. The way they do it is it'll probably slowly increment up, and it will always have its moments, but they'll never be like one boom outside of 1.0 maybe. So, but yeah, that's what I want to talk about next week. But we'll see what happens, and we might switch it up. But yeah, get subscribed on YouTube if you guys haven't yet. I'll do a little shout out for Croncy here. And follow us on Twitch if you guys haven't yet. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week for another fun episode. I'm hitting the wall hard. Croncy, you take us out. I don't know why. I'm just like actually hitting a wall.
So hot in here. But you know what's
Your
also
internet
hot?
sort of held up.
Yeah, it did seem to. But you know what else is this hot is when you call in and don't forget. Mike, say it.
To answer the call.
He did it.
I did it.
He did it.
I didn't press the outro yet, though. There we go.